This is T-Bone coming at you with a little bit of an attempt to find one's voice early in the morning, or perhaps just at any old time. I'm here with a guest star, a friend of mine.
Good.
And he is the mysterious guest.
Mysterious.
Mysterioso.
Oh, gee.
I love a little bit of mystery in the mornings. Now,
So let's give you some mystery.
let's keep it mysterious, but let's also keep it in a structured environment. Our first structured question was something to do with our three most valuable traits that we define for ourselves. Is that what?
Oh, no, let's go with this one.
Oh, here we go. We're switching it up. Mysterious.
I thought I was helping you with just your interviewing skills,
You are.
but then
You helping me with my interviewing skills,
let's
definitely.
go with,
Oh, here we going.
well, give me three. What would
We was rolling on
your
that river.
friend describe you as? Give me three words.
3 words my friends would describe me as. Well, I would have to say lately talkative, tenacious, and perhaps pensive. I know. Yay! I definitely have been quite the thinker lately. Yeah, it pours from me. I need to work on being as cool as I've always been, and cooler possibly in the future. What about you? Would you say that your friends would describe you in what 3 words?
They would say that I maternal.
Maternal?
I know, right?
Oh my goodness.
Because they're so sexist.
I think we got
They would
ourselves.
say that I am sweet and that I am thoughtful.
Now, those are really good characteristics to have. So sweet, maternal, and thoughtful. It's almost like the spirit of the mother. Or it's
I
like
was like,
something...
yeah, maternal, bitch.
Maternal has a
paternal.
feminine feel to it, but it's
Yeah, matriarchy, you know.
it's to
like
be
all the mothers
cradled in your mother's lap, swinging on a swing.
I was gonna say more like I corrected them. I was like maybe more like I guess good host catering, good cater. I don't know.
Oh, to be catered is almost to be at a table, a family
very-
gathering, a dinner, and then the mother comes in and she says, "I have just the maternal offering for y'all." Motherfuckers at the table, and they was like, "Let's eat," they said, and then she walks over. But no, you said that the 3 characteristics that would best describe you would be a maternal, an honest, and a kindness. No, was it honest?
No, sweet. No, sweet. No, did I say sweet?
Ooh,
No, I didn't. That was my mom.
sweetness. I want to change.
I don't know. Sweet in English, I don't know. It has like a more like a, hey, sweet lady, or it's like more like, not the connotation that it has in Spanish. Dulce, meaning having a
Dulce is
characteristic
like,
of
bloop,
like,
bloop. Delicioso. No,
No.
sweet also could be like, what's up, Vampire Bill? My name's the Sookie Stackhouse. No, it's nah, I ain't never slept with no vampire before.
Did you watch Sookie Stackhouse? I was,
No,
that's my
she's just
girl.
the
She's
sweetest.
a
She got a little
fairy,
sweetness.
hybrid fairy.
She's like fairy, all this supernatural business, and then Bill. He said, "Sookie, I'm sorry.
Sookie.
Sookie, why you so sweet?" She said, "I don't know, Vampire Bill. I'm just a waitress."
Do bad things with me.
that's hilarious.
Do bad things with me.
Say, when you came in, that the air went out.
You know.
Question number 2, and this one I'm going to go ahead and spark on live. Are you ready? If you could be anything occupational in the world, or if you could develop any trait, or what would it be?
Oh my god, that was like one of my questions for when I'm a security. My answer to that was in my bank sent me security questions to because my password was too.
Oh shit, we hacking.
It was compromising, you know.
Very
I had to
compromising.
create so one of the options was, what is your favorite career?
Oh, the favorite career.
And my answer was fluffer.
He said fluffer.
Just
Blup,
being, but that was just being
blup.
funny because
Now, guys, that was a joke.
yeah.
But they said, "What's a fluffer?" And they scratched their heads.
It's a non-existent Korea.
I think it should be put into existence.
Died out.
And then he breathed life, and there was fluffers. And they fluffed pillows at the hotels. And they put a little chocolate when they were done on them.
And they help a production keep a scene down to the...
They kept the scene nice, and the production was a part of the whole thing. The production took the trash out and everything. It's very much a hotel. It was a catering thing as well out front, but it was also a fluffing within the. He getting a job as a janitor.
Keep the scene rolling.
He keeping the scene rolling. He keeping the heads feeling good on them pillows. Fluff them.
Let's go with that.
If I could be anything, I would be a dirty meth whore. Just kidding, but maybe not. But it had to be in the past. Things were simpler back then.
It's how simple.
So simple that I forgot what it was that I was just speaking about. Gardening. I'm just kidding. Okay, if I could be anything in the world.
Okay, if you could be anything in the world, let's go with. It
Oh,
was real, being realistic though.
being realistic.
Or
A robot designer.
for if you can be one thing.
I would want to be in charge of some kind of group with a bunch of people that got together under like a fellowship.
If you was
A cult leader. Yeah. He said, drink the Kool-Aid, it's on me.
I'd be like, drink the Kool-Aid, shine your lives away to me, boy.
So I ain't been really doing
the other
nothing.
side.
I ain't really been doing nothing with my life. I'll drink the Kool-Aid. Vampire Bill. Sugar.
Who she want us to kill today, baby?
There is still a light that shines on me. Shine until tomorrow, let it be. I wake up to the sound of music. Mother Mary, she comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Let it be, no, let it be, let it be, let it be. And there will be an answer, let it be. Let it be, no, let it be, oh, let it be, yeah, let it be. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be. That's right, we're back. We just want to break it up, make sure that we don't get cut off on the lot. Sometimes it goes a little too long, you don't get it on the stock. Uh-oh, drop. We still here with the special guest, Mysterioso, mi amigo. What's they said?
What is your favorite book?
My favorite book? Well, I am glad that you asked. I didn't say that my favorite book. Ooh, see, I can be a bit of a... I'm hard pressed for picking favorites sometimes. I've been very indecisive in the past. However, the cure for that shit is to make a decision. And so my favorite book would have to be...
A book you would pick up time and time again.
I know. I liked the Game of Thrones series, A Song of Ice and Fire, but there's 7 of those. I would have to say that my favorite of the series would have to be the 3rd one. The 3rd one's when all the good shit happens. Yeah. And also,
Are we timed out?
there was a boy that I bonded with, and it was over those books. And it may have been the first initial domino in a series of dominoes that would trace me and mark a part of myself forever upon the surface of this earth. And that was the imprint of my heart those dominoes were tracing. You heard? But yeah, it was A Song of Ice and Fire, and it was A Storm of Swords. Yeah. What's your favorite? But I get up again.
Small Blessings.
Small. But I get up again.
It's a novel.
Oh, I thought you just were speaking upon Small Blessings in generalized.
No.
What's it about? Or what's the genre?
It's a novel by local. She's
So
from Charlottesville, and it's about I had to host a book signing for her when I worked at the bookstore.
Ooh,
And they,
so she was around. Like, oh, that's
and,
exciting. Like, I've never known an actual an author.
what got me to immediately to read it was the setting.
I just decided that instead of being a meth whore, I want to be an author.
Because before that, before I even read it, I wanted to
Fly?
I guess,
No, stop being interrupted.
Because I worked at a bookstore.
Yes, and there was a signing for Little
This one
Lessons.
took place in the college campus.
There's some fine-looking amigos around the
and,
college campus. They got their textbooks out. It's a little hot out in this. No, I'm just kidding. Stop it.
I was, I guess,
At the library, looking fly. Maybe.
trying to plug in the characters, you know, to my coworkers or the people I work with, and before I even got into the book.
Well, see, I was at the library at that same time, right? But I was plugging something different. It was a hole in the wall. But then after that, there was a hole in the wall. I was plugging it with a little bit of patchwork. At the time, I was doing a little bit of construction work at that same library.
Library JMU?
The library that we find ourselves in right now. What book you want to read? What's your favorite? He said Small Blessings. What was it about?
I don't want to give it away if you want to read it.
Okay.
Because I picked it up. I've read it twice already.
It's interesting.
I also like Girl on a Train. I think the movie...
Going on a train?
A Girl on a Train.
Oh, Girl on a Train.
I think the movie portrays her. I was frustrated watching the movie.
It's okay.
Like, they can... I guess it goes in the movie...
Was it the portrayal of who she was or what she looked like?
Because they made her look like... They portrayed her as more of a lush than she was.
That's not good. How did they do that? Or why do you think they did that?
Because they can only portray maybe a two-dimensional character in the movie than you would in the book.
Yeah, you're right. It is a lot harder to portray. Like, you only have actions in, like, a third-party or third-person perspective. Like, you can't actually get into the head.
She ain't that cray-cray.
She ain't that cray-cray, but maybe she is a little bit of a freak. She said, I get knocked down, but I get up again.
Tame.
If you ever want to keep me down, I get knocked down.
Peeping Tom. Peeping, what would be for a girl?
The only times I like
Tomasa.
are those that be peeping. Because I stare the peeping Tom in the eyes. I say, what are you looking at there?
You know, like...
I think all...
Or
all them stalkers out there, they said,
gosh,
yeah.
Ride a train.
I said, ladies. Oh my goodness.
Maybe you want to...
I'll stalk the train cart that I seen you in last week. Every single morning you do.
Now, what is your favorite female artist?
My favorite female artist, that's a very good question. I'll start by saying I think it's LP. Yeah, but no.
Females?
Actually, let's think about this. I like Amy Winehouse a lot, but I also like Lana Del Rey and Lorde. But after all those, I'm gonna have to say that I pick
Ain't gonna be cute to say Lorde.
No, I want to do that. I said it in my mind like that. Actually, it is my final answer is Utada Hikaru. Because he's an Asian lover. She sang a video game introduction ballad to Kingdom Hearts. I can play it on the piano. It's called Simple and Clean, but in Japanese, it's actually translated as a Hikari, which is light.
Mine would be Mariah Carey.
Hikari. Yours is what?
Mariah Carey.
Ooh, we got a Mariah.
What's that one song that you learn to play an instrument and perform? Keeping it your own.
Now that's a really good question. Well, what instrument is it exactly?
For me, it would be that guitar.
The guitar, okay. For me, it'd be the piano.
Okay. And
Or piano.
What song?
I would say that I would like to learn maybe Stairway to Heaven. It has a very I don't know, there's not too much repetition, but at the same time it's iconic. When you play it, dun 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 dun, everyone knows within a few keystrokes. But the complexity as it goes throughout the ballad, I think, is one that isn't just a rhythmic repetition like today's music necessarily. However, it's not as stale as maybe Bach or one of these classical compositions. Piano has a really so I'm going to say maybe Stairway to Heaven.
Piano does not.
A classical?
Really, well, yeah, but how would you add your own interpretation? Meaning,
My own interpretation?
your own, cover. I mean, you know how.
Oh, you got to do a cover of it.
Yeah, you interpret it your own way.
Ooh, in that case,
Changing like the arrangement.
then I would do I'm going to change my answer. Okay, my new answer is I would do a male edition of a Adele song. So it would be a masculine version of an Adele song. But I would maybe, I'm not sure if I would speed the tempo up or slow it down. It would and it would have to be to Rolling in the Deep. Or Set Fire to the Rain.
Rolling in the Deep.
Yep. So it'd be like, it would have to go slower.
Oh my
So it'd be like, the fire. No. No, it's not. I don't like that. What about someone?
She's like Whitney Houston.
It would be Lady Gaga, and Lady Gaga is my favorite artist. Absolutely, Lady Gaga for sure.
Up and down, you know, and like for me,
I'm not sure exactly where we left off, but I know exactly where we can pick it up, and that's right here in this moment. That's right, we're back with a T-bone steak, medium rare this morning on your lovely. Is it a Tuesday, my friend? Well, Tuesday, November the 24th. Sounds like a beautiful day to be alive. Now, we were saying that if there was a cover song, that's right, I was saying that Lady Gaga, by far, par none, is my favorite composer.
What song?
I would have to say there's a song called, I like Mary the Night, but no, I'm going to have to say the new one, it's Art Pop. She does a duet with Elton John, right?
Take My Body.
Take My Body. Which,
song?
Is it a Lady Gaga song? How does it go? With R. Kelly. Oh my goodness! It's like we need to go put it on TV.
But my one, okay.
What would you do to make it a cover special? Oh
I'm saying, Lady Gaga. That's one song that it's a memory. It's it's a good song. I love that song.
Maybe Bad Romance, but I would make it about good romance. I would switch it up in a sense and make it a pop. What? Bad Romance? I like it.
But for me, it would be the one song that I would perform and learn to play the guitar.
Oh, it was a musical instrument as well that has to be incorporated. It would definitely be Art Pop. Okay.
That you'd be able to do your own arrangement on that. It would be Night Changes.
Night Changes? How does it go?
By One Direction.
Ooh, I don't know any. I know One Direction as a band name.
What's yours?
It's called Art Pop. Yes.
Let's go with that one first.
Oh my goodness, let's do it.
Is it a Lady Gaga? Did you say what was the?
Lady Gaga, Art Pop. Elton John's also within it.
Like that one? Or
Yes.
just the regular one.
Let me see. Yeah, Art Pop.
Yep, I wanted to get some pictures of her when she was sleeping.
Now, I would have to, instead of it's a duet, I would have to do this all by myself.
No, that's not duet. That's why I asked you what version you wanted to hear.
There it is. So it's like she's on the piano. But I would have to just be, I guess, more low-toned with it. And I'd switch the words up. It was come to me in all your glamour and cruelty, that thing that you do. And then he covered it up. And I'll run, 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 ooh. No, I'm just kidding.
You could type.
Sometimes the simplest move is that you choose. Thank you. It can rescue you. Oh, 1, 2. Brid can. Ooh. My heart can beat with bricks and strings. My art pop could mean anything. He's gonna get into it in a second, y'all. We could. See, now, if I was doing a cover, I think that this part right here needs to, this part would have to be a little bit of a deviation. ARPA, it's ARPA, it's ARPA. Now, we pretty good recorder journalists, but how's our singing going to get better? I think it's going to get better here shortly. He said, just now come to me. Oh, with all your subtext and vanity, just do that thing that you do. In a perverse hue. I didn't know all these lyrics until lover's skies. I've flown on beaches for public size. The color I let you choose. I said it could maybe profit you. A hybrid. No, see, look. You know what's hilarious? I never know how many words that you really don't know on certain songs. It's like I just be
like in the Black Widow.
What's a Black Widow?
That song Black Widow, when it said, "Love you like a fat boy loves cake. Love you like you love a black little baby."
Like a
black little baby. Like a black little baby.
Is that what they're actually saying, or was that?
It's like I love you like a black widow.
I love you like a black widow.
I thought it said,
Black
I love you
widow.
like you love a black little baby. Like, okay.
What's funny? Okay, so now this,
have to love the
I had to
black
almost
baby.
go. I almost had to go all the way to the Black Baby Island in order to figure out what I would do exactly with my cover of the song. Okay, because I didn't actually know most of the words of the song.
So I'm trying to
I realized
find-
that it's the beat that I actually like. So I would have to steal the beat in a way. Yeah.
You want to say?
It's like simplified. I'd have
He's
to.
listening to that song and it's calling her a bitch.
It's called copyright infringement.
Loves a beat.
She said she loves the beat. No, she don't. But yeah, I would have to steal the song beat, but I would switch it up like just a slightly more, so it would be unique. So instead of being like it'd be like
You're gonna have to rethink that one, but this is mine.
But yeah, I would switch all the words up too. But I haven't even been singing the words to it. That's hilarious. I love that song. Now this is Small Blessings. Everything.
But the part I love is this. Doesn't it drive you does it ever drive you crazy just how fast the night changes? That everything you knew and dreamed of disappears every night when you wake up. Every day when you wake up. But everything will change, but
The night gives birth to the morning.
nothing.
Changes. Oh.
It will never change me.
What'd you say? Yeah! Look, I like it. Set the go! So what about the night changes? No, stop it.
I would change some of the lyrics, but not much. But to because it was that miracle that how you life when you're an uncle.
Okay.
And you see the miracle. Oh my God, that's a piece of my brother, but an extension of my family, and like
Now, wait a second. What does uncles have to do with miracles?
the miracle of birth, the miracle of like the product of
The product of conception, right?
Yeah, and then an extension of me, and what I know is me and my family should, you know, and just
This
it
song,
made me like it matured me to where like okay now you know I gotta get my act straight or because
what are you getting your act straight for? To be a father?
to know that they can depend on me, you know, and yeah, because
It can never change me and you.
yeah, you know, in the future
Who depends on you?
for them,
Who's them?
my nieces,
I'm sorry.
it's
I said that. Or it's like it was so weird.
it's two nieces now.
There's two. Oh man, my dream would be to write music and coordinate it with different videos that also I could correlate with my writings or like I feel like there's anyway. Sorry. Cut. Okay. Take 4. Even the night changes.
That's one.
There's nothing to be afraid. That's right, we're back, and I'm slightly more reeled in. I noticed that after a couple minutes, there is a manic kind of prism to my personality that gurgles up like boiling water or bubbles on the surface. And I like to just take a mindfulness approach and slowly take a deep breath and say, "Are you coming over?" I'm bored and long. What was the other adjective? Or no, it was she said.
You know who was that?
She said, "Aburrido y estoy
Solo.
solo. Solamente por favor, papas fritas." No, stupid.
So
No, but on that
favorite
song.
male artist.
Oh, my favorite male artist? Ooh. Me in the Future. He said. No, I like, it's such a far and few between. And what's funny, and what is funny to analyze, I know songs, but I don't know artists very well. And that's something that I need to give more appreciation towards people that create music. I just,
How about I guess because
do you have a go-to?
growing up a Christian, all that was secular and we weren't allowed.
You weren't allowed to listen to different music or pop?
What I did in high school was because
That's what you do.
yeah.
You break them rules when you're young. That's or stop it.
So music was more for me. I was very selective, and I had to either paint, you know, memory. It either painted a memory or it was music that I could, I guess.
Different genres almost can possess different qualities to them, don't they? Like some music I like to dance
sing,
to.
You know,
Ooh.
sing to.
There is like female vocalists. I love singing along with like a female, like a strong female, like. But
I
I
knew I could, you know.
male vocalists though. I like almost not. Who's your favorite male vocalist or artist? And what's their dick look like? Oh no, he's just stop it.
Usher for sure.
Usher. Really?
Then
Justin Timberlake?
Then Justin Timberlake. Then
Ooh. It's like these in my mirror.
of the newest ones,
What's the newest? Or stop it.
of the new artists would be I would say Jake Bugg because he's got that nostalgia in his voice. We haven't had one of them.
How's J Bug sound?
We
With the,
haven't had it's very iconic.
you know what? Do you think that modern day music has the same appeal as like I
that's,
feel like there's almost a slight.
I always go for or
I like my diva shit.
respect the ones that are singer-songwriters, singer-songwriters,
Oh, I'm sorry.
because I either it's their personal experience, which they said about songs like it may mean one thing for the singer when they wrote it, but it can have 22,000 different meanings.
Art pop could mean anything. No, that was
And
that.
to the listener.
It's to the eye of the beholder and the ear of those who choose to follow along with the melody.
But I respect that artist that
The original intent or the purpose for the.
I respect more, I guess, than the ones to.
I don't like a slower tempo. Like,
Then you question, like, okay,
like
when did
when did it all? I don't like older.
when or how had she? When would she experience ratchetness? You know.
Now, when was
Like,
she experience?
Think about that because
Boy,
to me it feels like
who was it?
she's portraying a part of a part of her audience or a segment of her audience that
Now, who is she?
Beyonce and her
Oh,
song
Beyonce.
Ratchet. You know that Ratchet song.
That Ratchet song. Who's the Ratchet singer?
She's singing about being ratchet, and
How's it go? Come on, you know the words.
I don't respect it.
You don't respect the
But
Ratch?
it's catchy.
You don't respect the Ratch, he
It
said.
says so ratchet.
See, with male, I wanted to say for male, oh, I like Supertramp kinda, but that's a little bit. See, look, I feel like there's a divided, like, kind of. There's a bunch of different sides to me, right? Some days I want to be like
Savage.
Elton John,
It's called Savage.
Savage. Ooh.
Yeah, they don't like it.
Like Elton John, I would say has probably over.
It's like ghetto.
Steal that bitch.
She ain't a
Man, she's savage.
like bitch.
I'm the hood Mona Lisa.
The hood Mona Lisa. She's staring at the pieces.
I'm way too exclusive, but I don't shop on Insta boutiques. All the little ass clothes on me.
Little ass
Bad bitch, still talking
bad bitch.
pussy like what
Pussy like what
up.
up?
I would never trip on a nigga if I
I'm a savage. Classy, bougie, ratchet.
Music.
Sexy, moody, nasty.
You said ratchet, booty,
Acting
ratchet,
stupid, what's happening?
savage, juicy.
What's happening?
He said, "What's happening? The rap music fusing."
Bougie, ratchet. And they're all like,
Oh shit, we got it live. Hold on, hold on. Bloop, bloop. These lyrics are have a confusing interface to them. In a way. No, it's not.
they're dissing word.
I'm a savage.
Little
Yeah.
drip meaning like, bitch, I got you dripping, girl, because you is,
I got you dripping wet like a cavern on a rainy day.
because I cut a bitch, you cut a bitch, you feel me?
All I see dripping, cause it's blood.
He's a mob.
Dripping, blood. Life, guzzling, downer, drip, drop, drip, drop. I said, what's happening? Then I'm lit like a matchbook. I drop a. Don't let that. It's hard to read. These are. I'm a lamb, bitch. Catch me if you can. Oh, I'm kicking back. I said chat. Nah, niggas ever saying something about sugar.
Oh, where was Beyonce's?
Now I think that was the worst impression I've ever seen of a lyrical mastermind. Terrible again. What's interesting is now we're finally coming to the point where I feel like there is. I think that this video is going to contain a good form of what I've learned so far in the other videos. And what I've learned in the other videos is that sometimes I can get a little bit hyper and eccentric to the point where I can not only not necessarily possess meaning within what I'm saying, but be terribly derailing, and I apologize a little bit. This has been an exercise in maybe listening to myself more and being a little bit less, how do you say it, moxie? No, it's not how you say that.
Thriving Ivory.
Ivory?
Thriving Ivory.
Stop it.
What's the one song that that defines a event or, you know,
What a song that
your
would
life?
be.
Yeah, time in your life. Moment. The one song, community together.
That's not gonna happen.
Knock it out.
We've got angels on the moon.
Knock it out.
Because we rock it fucking out. That's right.
Do you dream that the world will know your name? So tell me your name.
Oh my goodness, it's her.
Do you care about all the little things or anything at all?
Or anything at all.
Feel all the chemicals inside. I wanna feel.
Oh, let's see it almost again.
I wanna sunburn.
Just to know that I'm alive.
Just to know.
Don't tell me if I'm dying, 'cause I don't wanna know. If I can feel so, maybe I should. Don't leave because I'm dreaming of angels on the moon.
Of the angels.
Everyone you know never leaves too soon.
So what do you think?
What do I think? It describes my
In the day that you were born.
grieving of my grandmother.
It describes the what of?
The grieving of my grandmother.
Oh. Okay, that's a really personal song then. I understood. I caught the line about, would you want to know?
To not want to feel anything. It went from, just placing blame to, anger and not wanting to feel anything.
Look, that hit a little bit home with me as well. I feel there's been a grieving process that I've been undergoing as well. And, but if I was dying, I would want to know about it. So I contradict the first couple lines, or one of the first couple lines was saying, to keep that a secret in a sense, or if I'm dying, don't let me know. Or do you think there's a peacefulness that could be approached, or would you want to know about your death date if you were?
Well, no, it was more. I mean, I don't. The lyrics don't mean that to me. And,
It was just the one I've caught.
I don't. Yeah, not the literal, but just more like it catches the emotion.
It's like the tone.
Of me wanting to, feel. Because I didn't have anybody I could, that sobbing cry that, okay, now, when you like finally feel good after, I was stuck on anger and blame, really.
Can you feel things right now, or do you have when you do let's say that there's different quandaries or there's different? Do you feel do you feel that sometimes you can lose your emotions, or do you feel apathy ever setting in?
Yeah.
No, okay. I feel like everybody has different reactions, and I feel that that apathy is mine. Not apathy, but it's almost a secularization. Not secular, but it's not a sterilization either. But yeah, I don't feel very much. Me don't feel very much. I felt earlier, when I was crying actually, just for our audience out there that can't actually see me. My face was crusted with tears when I first arrived here. I was very much in possession of a fourth chakra kind of a heart-based, but I have sterilized that part of myself, and I think that is something that I do frequently. And it helps me be more focused on perhaps like a laser beam. Words. There's also a hedonistic pleasure associated. There's a sensation, or it's not a feeling like something that you feel emotion. It's a feeling like pleasure. But you can ride in it and get lost in it, in those waves.
When you find pleasure in crying.
No, I find that pleasure sometimes takes the place of my emotions, my emotional qualities. Like, I can listen to a beautiful song, or someone could open up to me. I can't express right now a connection, or there's my fourth chakra's been sterile.
Sadness, sorrow can be, you can manifest it.
I can think about it and make it into systems, and I can do different, and I know what it is because I've felt it, but
Mask it with Slutty Slutterson.
now Slutty McSlutterson does come out after the heart chakra gets a little bit like, you can be the best dancer, the best writer, the best you can perform in various ways and actions very, very well when you have different components to yourself, perhaps shut off completely. This is hilarious. But no, it's something that I always ask myself, why do I do this? Sometimes it's embarrassing because it'll be like, someone will be like, hey, Tyler, I need to confide in you. And I'll say, yes, what is it? And inside I'm thinking, oh shit, I don't got my fourth chakra going on. And it's like, you have to pretend almost. And I feel like that's not good. Like, I know what it is that I value, and I know what it is that I should feel in a lot of cases. But I guess I've been trying to run and escape from pain for so long that it becomes more of a delegated mental exercise when I be
Oh, see,
I'm a little bit scattered. My apologies.
I cry, and and well, I don't see that. I guess weakness. I thought it would be weakness
See, I got that out. None of that was recorded on mine.
to allow somebody to see me while they're, when they're hurting me, whether it's, physically, and where I had to like adapt my own, technique to like keep tears in, which was, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. That was going on, the abuse, and it was very.
I think that there's definitely good things and bad things about being able to turn your emotions off through like maybe a natural method or through some kind of input. Like uppers definitely shut my emotions down, whereas some people experience like paranoid delusion, perhaps. Some people experience all these different schizophrenia. I have an apathetic approach. I lose track of what it is that I'm feeling, but I can get super involved for 8 hours in a project, or I can be like the best. Like, I can get really meticulous into what I'm doing in detail.
So you channel that where I would then.
My heart's in pain in my reality.
To that emotion, I would
always
with music, which the emotion would be the song evokes. It would be unrelated to, but it's the emotion, the crying that I find more like releasing and weight off or.
I really need to get in touch with my emotions and face them.
Time or with that,
I need to face my emotions and feelings. You can't run from pain. I think the reason that I choose so often to do what I do to myself in order to get in the state I am now, which is to sterilize the heart region or the fourth chakra area, is because there is a lot of pain and suffering that's going on, and not a lot of necessarily positive emotional based, but I have lots of work to do. Very, very late for a very important date. The time to say hello, goodbye.
People in your life that haven't honored you.
I'm never going to, I can't.
Your sharing of your emotions or
the people that I've lost people that are, no, it's like, I'm going to stop doing that. What I'm saying is, a lot of times, my heart, how do I say this?
Ridicule, I guess. When I was ridiculed when I showed my.
I feel a lot of pain. I feel a lot of pain, and I feel a lot of different things like that. Like,
and I wish it would be.
I wish that I was feeling.
There was no because.
And my emotions have made me weak in the past as well, and that's something that I feel like I need to find a balance within, because you don't just sterilize your emotions because they made me weak, but love, or not love necessarily, but I've given other people a lot of power over my happiness in life, and love has caught me like a snare, and it has made me a prisoner to things outside my own control or my own, and I don't know. There's things. I'm 29 years old, and in all merits and for all intents or purposes, I am a man child, in a sense. It's kind of sad to say, but I need to be productive within. I need to be productive within mental arrangements or within physical. I need to do something, or I need to like. And that's why I take task management or focus, hyper focus, and no sleep and hyper energy, and the cost is my heart chakra for periods of time, or it's the ability to feel emotions. In a sense, it turns me into a cold stone. But it's a sexy cold stone, he said. Oh, see, look, and then it's almost as if there's these patterns that emerge. It's like I wonder sometimes. I think they're defense mechanisms, but maybe they're like calling to try to feel.
Because
I do know that I'm depressed in a way. There's pain and loss.
Actions, I guess. When, like, say, people that are like this do this, and that, behaviors. But
or
like daughters with the daddy issue, they choose
ladies,
bad, abusive men,
Okay,
where it's the opposite of what they want, because it's the daddy issues, them not having a dad, period,
Okay, so they seek abusive men in order to.
Where do they get that? They do the opposite of what
Of what they should.
Uh-huh.
They either.
Or what you would think would I guess mold that.
It depends on exactly the daddy issue, though. Like, for instance, me, I've got daddy and mommy issues. My daddy issues was an absent father. He wasn't there, so I seek masculine approval, or I seek masculine affection. But I have mommy issues in the sense that I have to have women be kind of tough, or I have a higher standard on women. Women have to come correct, and they have to, and that's beautiful. That's a good thing in a way. My women friends are very strong-oriented, independent women. But men, I put on a pedestal, and you can, and it's kind of, I need to analyze this, but I'm like, I don't know. It's, women got to do 15 extra push-ups every single set, and the men can,
that there's,
because that's how my mom was in a sense, or that's how, or maybe it's a little bit of my, a little bit of negativity towards my mother, maybe projected off on women, or perhaps it's a little bit of envy that I feel. But it's
would be as chivalrous as a friend would be to a female, but if you're in a position like those in the Navy, in the military, nowhere will you use, your kids or your period to get out of something that, to get me stuck on that, because I would remind them that you joined the military.
Who?
Because you wanted to. I would remind them that they joined the military because they wanted to prove they're just as good as men are,
Mm-hmm.
So prove it, or
What, with their flows?
Or kids,
What do you mean their kids?
Babysitter issues, and that's why they can't do the job. Or see, in the military we had these working parties, basically, and they had a rotation for it. If it happens to have a plane came in, because the reason why it's called working party, it's a bad thing.
Okay, why?
Because it never finishes during your work shift,
It runs over, or it has like kind of
a working party. It could be either that day they wanna receive a shipment, or the helo comes back with crates of fucking cargo, and
it always runs over the working party.
We have to clear it, and then do they call it the foreign object walkthrough.
Okay.
Of walking.
And this
side
is
by side through the whole flight deck,
this is the procedure for the Navy for okay.
So it's always like 4 or 5 hours past your working schedule, and that's why it's if it falls on your rotation, then you're stuck doing it.
Then you're fucked.
But to like get out of it, what? With
Look,
oh my
stop
god,
it.
my kids! I gotta go get
Look,
them.
it's almost as if something takes a hold of me
Girl, no.
sometimes. It's like
Look,
something takes a hold of me in
and I
a way.
made her
There's
cry
like
when
different.
I went off on her like that.
You went off on her?
I
Or,
made some. Yeah, I made her cry.
oh,
When I
look, it's
told her
like
hell no, I called her out like nope, nope. And I walked out of
this
it.
is a really cool critical analysis or exam. Thank you, not to interrupt you. Thank you for going into this like
'Cause I'm a
audio thing.
womanizer too, you know.
What?
Because I'm a womanizer. I'm all about
Are you a womanizer?
women, you know, owning their own bodies, their selves, you know, and
Is that what?
and not being objectified and looking how they want to look it without
See, I
men
don't.
expecting a you know.
Since I don't have lust for women, it's almost as if they're like on an island, or I let them do what they want with their bodies. I'm just fucking with you. That's hilarious right there.
I guess because men can be objectified too. I mean, and
A lot of times,
where you don't find it like
see,
at all.
when men are objectified, there's a part of me that there's a sadistic part of me
I don't
that
find
is a
it.
power dominance hierarchy that says I would
See,
like to be a
I've
little
been-
bit in control, or there's like a strong
Like,
man.
let me
like-
objectify you in this way.
It's a
see
sexual
if you-
domain, though.
Oh, of course, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're any but okay, this is how it was because I don't know how to do it in
know how that works.
objectify you. It gave me insecurities instead, you know.
What?
That first there was when I was 12 I used to like go back, you know, groceries for tips, you know.
You have to go back. Okay. I did similar things when I was older. I was a bag boy.
12.
12. What?
Well, I mean, this just like it's like shoveling ice, you know, in Jersey, you know,
Shoveling ice in Jersey. Ooh, that would probably
for
be
your neighbors or whatever, you know, and they
quite a lucrative business.
lucrative because they see the work ethic in a young, you know, and they hook you up. Well, I worked for tips. At this, you know, it wasn't a chain supermarket. It was called La Grande. It was owned by a Cuban, and they had a restaurant too. But this guy, he worked in the meat shop, shop.
Mm-hmm.
He was Colombian, good looking, but at the time, you know, I would say today I can see him. You know, yeah, he was attractive, but the way he objectified me was he placed like this female, like, you know, on my ass, like, damn, you got, you know. So I felt like, oh, do I walk like a girl? Do I, you know, present myself, you know, feminine, the way I walk, and you know what I mean? That it made me insecure.
It made you hyper focus on how you and what was your outcome, or how did you feel after analyzing yourself? Do you have a feminine kind of swagger, or
No. Oh, after. No, it made me, feel insecure about
or not insecure,
because
but
it
just
happened
aware?
in military, in boot camp. I'm like, what the hell are you doing looking at my ass first, you know? And second, it's like, black guys, well, yeah.
See, I can imagine that's
It
gotta
was
be.
mostly, they all thought that I was the bottom.
They all thought you were the bottom.
Yeah.
Could they tell that you were gay,
swing
or
that ass, like, you know.
watch
Just
yourself?
right, yeah.
Tell me what you're twerking with.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, stop it. But
So I'm like, okay.
well, that's intense. I've never thought of what it would be like to be
See, I was the lover of squats. Got to have that.
the lover of squats. Oh,
Perfect ass. That was one thing. I wanted
to be surrounded by athletic men of
just the ass.
a militaristic or a naval quality. Oh my goodness, that I would have to try to sterilize my sexual. I wish it was as easy to sterilize your sexual impulses as it was your heart, in a sense, because I would want to be all business if I was in that kind of if I was going into a Navy situation. Unfortunately, if there's swaying cocks all around
found a
and
need, if you
six-pack
found it-
abs and people that are, I'm not going to be able to help, but maybe sometimes every so often.
Maybe because of the circumstances.
Cop a look.
Why I joined, I guess, you know, there was
Yeah.
that unknown and that fear.
Can you not be attracted to somebody that you're attracted to?
But because of that, I guess I was able to, you know, not here for that, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or not gonna My eyes didn't wander.
You just didn't wonder?
Didn't wander like to the side region, I guess. So not to get a chub, in the bathroom.
Okay. You had to make
Yeah.
sure that you, purposeful. Well, it sounds like there was a lot of purposefulness,
And
or there
it
was a lot of,
it was like-
how am I
it
walking? What
was
am I
7
looking at?
minutes, You had 7 minutes to go in and out, and that was a whole row of, which was 40 people to brush, shave, and shower. Yeah, what they call it, what? To shave, and shower. Yeah, and you had 7 minutes to do all that. Because they have a row, they had the row of shower heads, a row,
It sounds like heaven.
but
No, I mean paradise.
being
I
the
mean,
high
I'm not
maintenance that
looking.
I was.
no. What?
High maintenance.
Mhm.
That's what they would say. It's
You don't seem high maintenance to me.
That's what they would gesture to say.
That's hilarious.
But
How do you carry yourself in that environment, though?
high maintenance because I would sacrifice my sleep and do all this at night instead, so I wouldn't have to deal with cut. Having to shave in a rush.
Oh, well, wait a second. You would do it at night so that you could have privacy, or you would do it
so that I
because...
can do it slowly, and because I didn't shave until I joined, and it was you don't have access to the good razors. It's what they issue you there, which is the big blue ones,
You're funny. Look.
Oh.
For me, for some reason, I feel like sometimes there's words that have symbolic representation. So when you were saying razor for a second, I split off. But no, the blue razors you're saying, or you were speaking of the literal razors. Like a lot of things are blue these days.
They were the cheap ones, 99 cents or yeah.
I'm still thinking about this. Just what it would be like. There's so many different. I feel like right now there's my life is very just at a zero value. It's not necessarily negative, but there's a different. But to be in the military or to be a part of like just a large group that's exercising what you did boot camp, you did training. So your assignment is to get in shape and to learn different procedures. Or see, I have such
Boot
a.
camp was they try to break you down.
I need to find a tribe where
I don't know what it is. I guess it was.
I'm making a fool of myself
I
every day.
had experience enough, till that point that the universe lined up for nothing but success at that point.
Now I'm a triple
was
felon with drugs. I can't jump
Chalkboard PO.
the
Because I had the
chalkboard.
good
Yeah.
handwriting. I would write tomorrow's to do and schedule on the board because it's all caps and you have to cross your zeros and
So you have really good handwriting, or you have a
Yes.
fancy.
and was promoted in boot camp.
Okay, so you did excellent in boot camp. You
But my
definitely.
chief, promoted me, and it got me out of a lot of, they call them beats because beat sore, and they would do that where if someone didn't play part of the team, where if someone passes out during the marching drill because they didn't hydrate enough,
And then what?
then they would make you come back to the sleeping quarters and down water.
See, it's sad.
Canteen after water to like.
I want someone to
Throw
force.
up
I want
some.
someone to force that. I want almost a drill sergeant to force.
Then they say they make it.
And it's sad that I don't have the self-discipline. It's not that I can keep putting power with words and saying I don't, but I fail rigorously on getting myself to. But if I had someone yelling in my face in a group of people that was doing it, then it's like I want that almost
the camaraderie of like everybody being with a group and having
a synergy.
it gave me it was that like like almost gets giggling or to the few times that I did get have to.
See, I would want to be competitive. I would want to be the
But it's
best.
like, at night, like, trying to put on a shirt, you're hurting and shit. That I think it traumatized me. I never wanted to see a gym after that.
Never want to see a gym.
No pain, no gain, bullshit.
What's see?
I mean, so because I'm a jogger, I get jog and get lost, and 24 hours, but
Really?
I can't do it anymore.
Hmm.
But where I get my natural high from. But I find no satisfaction in
And gyms?
lifting and then feeling that even swimming was not my thing, even though I'm a good swimmer, but because I don't do it so often enough to where every time I do it, it's like that first, doing it for the first time and getting sore.
It hurts and it's sore. It definitely helps within camaraderie.
I don't like feeling that.
See, but that's what we need to feel in order to have a long-term, it's a short-term pain for a long-term investment. And it also makes you healthier, and it makes you, like, when I was in good shape, I was happier and my body was, like, I had better self-esteem. I like the way.
I understand the body and I understand that.
But I need a boot camp guy to be like, now drop and give me 10 or else I'll fucking kick you. It's like, why can't I do that to myself?
But I make sure I stay active and eat well, but
because I don't eat well, and I don't say because I'm on drugs, I guess.
Fat people,
and I'm on drugs because I am trying to sterilize my heart region, I think, and also and I'm doing that because I'm unhappy or I'm suffering, I guess. But I just need to get through that. When I stop using, I guess, then I start feeling. And when I start feeling a lot of negative, and I guess I don't have things that are really instituting positive emotions within my, very much. But I have pleasure within, I guess, the vice of uppers. But it causes me to almost make a fool of myself, or a mockery, and it's a subconscious. It's funny in a way, but it takes a life of it. It's like
You mean when you?
When I get fucked up,
the way you do?
yeah, when I get fucked up, and when all these things, it's almost like a knee-jerk reaction, or it's out of my control largely. But I've sterilized embarrassment.
It was like a vulnerability of yours that you allow me to see.
I like that. I like that it's able for me to be. I used to be so worried about what other people thought of me. I used to be very insecure, and it's almost like making a fool of myself in so many circumstances.
You caught me a few times where
has made
my
me
lips would shiver whenever you try to push me to to build out a note but doing it, and that it made me uncomfortable. It was it
made you uncomfortable. Me singing or you?
Me. It was it was being vulnerable, I guess, or you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And also because I guess it's it simultaneously it's a release,
it's a release.
It gives me the goosies and emotional release.
It's just to be comfortable with yourself, and then to be
quiver and
you just got to get that quiver out. Your quiver will never get out if you never, I guess, equip it, because a quiver holds your arrows. No, I'm just like that.
Very broad way, when I sing, sometimes, not really sounding like the artist or that same tune, or,
I get very dry throat. Another thing that's bad, though, about I feel like I don't take very good care of myself in the sense that my dehydration and food.
Like overly exaggerated just a bit,
Not Broadway. No, I'm sorry.
But yeah.
It's very like I've wanted to quit. I've wanted to quit many times in my life for many years, like over a decade, different times, and I've always been unsuccessful. I've been a drug addict my entire life, and it's not about excuses. It's just about what.
You started when you were 12.
Yeah.
That would be hard for me too,
Well,
I don't want to say I was sheltered enough to so much that where I wasn't around it.
Mm-hmm. I know what I am when I'm sober.
I smoked weed every day in high school.
Weed's cool though. Weed doesn't have necessarily a debilitating effect in a sense.
That's V8.
I'll stop the recording here. I'm gonna give you some
here. To be just like my mom, I wanted to be a server. And everyone said, no, Tyler, you need to blah, blah. And I was just a kid, but it's like, no, I wanted to be a server. I would go and sit there with my mom, or not with my mom, but she worked at Panos, she worked at Galleys for a while, and there was times where I was young, I'd have to go into work with her and sit there while she, and I would, blah, blah, blah. That went on for years, but I always watched her working and making money. and I always thought that it would be something that I would like to emulate, and I eventually did do that. So in that regard, I set my goals very low, and not low, but everyone was like, "No, Tyler, why don't you do this?" I'm like, "No, I just want to be a server at a restaurant like my mom."
Tyler, you don't have to haul yourself out for tips.
My thing is
Right.
that in server things, okay, this is a question I have for you, okay? When you go into a job, do you give your all 100% like immediately, or do you sandbag a little bit? Do you give maybe 75 or 80% lagged approach? Are you shining like the golden boy,
I
or are
give
you
my
a little bit
all
more laid
because-
back and a little bit in the cut, observing things at first before?
No, I give it my all
Okay.
because
I do as well. I completely agree. But every time I wonder if I should, because I almost have no choice but to do it. Unfortunately, I always get stuck with extra responsibilities. I end up getting, it's like, Tyler, you gotta be the popcorn manager. You're not gonna get no benefits or nothing from it, but you can just, Tyler, why don't you train two people while you're doing it? Tyler, can you, hey, Tyler. And that's cool, and I like to be multifaceted and useful. But I've always wondered maybe if I go into a restaurant in the future, if I should maybe be a little bit less of the golden boy. Like, I go in there like, that's just me. I can't help it.
yeah.
But there's a wiseness sometimes to holding back a little bit. But I have no choice but to be great. I cannot help. You too? But yeah. It's been so long since I've worked. It's going to be actually really, really good being back into a climate that I have to have a little bit of a domain of practical social convention or whatever. I've been a little bit off the chain lately, and it's been a berserk kind of mentality that is very interesting. It's almost addicting in its mania, and it's. But when you have a job, you have to reel it in, and you have to be
You
that.
see yourself like
It's another person. It's the
working
birth
a field because
of another
to
person.
allow you to do what you really love, which is writing. And that would be your ideal, I guess.
See, I'm
Is
not
it a-
sure. I would like to do a job that I don't have to work another day in my life because
Yeah.
it's something that will have. It'll be like writing or researching like this. It'll be like dancing. It'll be like
A lot
helping
of writers do
helping
a lot
people
of
who are traveling.
service
Or,
jobs, or they work in cruises, you know.
see,
It allows them the time and creativeness and.
it's like that's a
I
really
know.
cool dream. I would like to really try to think about like. Anyways, I'm gonna write that down. Like riding on a cruise ship. Just think about it constantly until it happens, Tyler. Riding on a cruise, no. Like riding, not riding, but both. But no, I've been. I need to really shit or get off the pot when it comes to my ambitions and my dreams, because I don't want to get stuck doing a dead end job that I hate, and then I want to shoot myself because it's mind numbing. But also, if I'm going to be so indecisive that I never make a charter or a course for my dream, then I'll never arrive there. So, but no, I like the idea of writing, but I need to really do, as I go into my 30s, get a little bit more practical approach to what it is that is my ideal calling and where I can most shine it. Where do you think that you would fit most refined at, or where do you think that you could do the best work for the easiest, the most enjoyment, and the best outcome?
Well, lately, I found that I was burnt out in the service field, and I burnt out from that, and then I
I
wasn't
feel you on that.
getting anywhere, you know.
No.
I want the glory to myself, which somewhere like Virginia doesn't allow me that, you know.
Now, what do you mean? What is the job?
Being able
or
to
how do you define
delegate
glory?
instead of like being a lot of it is hands-on, you know, that I have to be hands-on and micromanaging to make sure that gets done right.
Are we in a business, like managerial kind of climate? or
Because
are we in
there's
like,
a climate here where the food service, you can't break, once there's a click, you can't break it up. You know, they're like mama's kids, you know.
I don't have enough specific information to be
So
able
I
to...
had no like,
I want to get out of the restaurant business, but I don't want to get stuck in business, or like business, but I don't want to be like, my name's Tyler, can I sell you something for
babysitting
commission?
because you know what, they need the money, and mama loves them, and
Mama. Ha.
the GM to hire them, and they were a clique, they were a family. already.
Click. Sorry. No, but you were saying that, it was,
I'm burnt out because
You're burnt
I don't
out of
have the power of delegating and where
I'm burning out because I'm not progressing anywhere. I'm not progressing at all. I'm being like, hey, my name's Tyler. Can I interest you in one of these products or get you something to eat today? You know, I don't want to. I want
Basically, I didn't see the toll on my body, the kind of work I was doing, with the work I was doing.
Hi, my name's Tyler. I'm half.
Worth, you know?
I'm only half or quarter here, half most of the time because I don't find enough stimulus within my environment that truly gets me to feel alive or like. And you can see the ramifications of it on my body's health. Can I get you guys anything to start off with a drink?
I don't do that though.
But if I could get off my ass, really position myself to where I can find and then set off, then I think that it would give me a meaning for life again to be able to really believe in what I'm doing and believe in the place I'm living in and believe in the people around me.
So an ideal job for me would be Zen, would be therapy, physical therapy.
Physical therapy?
I have that mapped out already.
Nice. See, everybody's got their, everyone's got their map. It's just about manifesting it.
There'll be it's trying to combat opiate addiction by offering, more physical therapy.
Some people get long-term relationships with other people and they're miserable the whole time and it ends in like heartache and death. I feel like I have this rendezvous or this kind of relationship with it's there's plants, chemicals. They're not in the Animalia family, but I've had a long-standing relationship with Icy. Some call her Tina, and that's something that I think that we need a little bit of space. However, me and Mary, we got a thing going on, and I love her, and they've never let me down in the ways that I've been let down and so I just would like to say that. Even though there might be an emphasis that there's problems and different things within the opinions and perspectives, or maybe even the outward appearance of. But I would like to just for the record state that I am, while searching and not satisfied with where I'm at, I love the fact that I feel the way that I do, and I feel more empowered and more hot on the trail within my writing, my creating, and my thinking than I ever have in my life. And I feel like I'm finally standing up for myself, and I finally feel like there's someone more than just than someone that is like, how can I help you, and how can you love me?
This in a way has allowed you to see that too.
Yes, that has allowed me to not sleep, to work relentlessly, to meet a broad array of people.
I feel like you encounter awkward situations where you like find yourself taking over and like finding.
And some me be a dancer, a ninja, an articulator, never sleep, get massive amounts of writing.
Many other ways, and I reacted this way. And you take power, you overpower the situation, and.
Me and Icy need to have a little bit of distance sometimes because we like each other a little too much. It's kind of a little bit of a...
Do you see yourself as a gradual, step down? To, like, for me, it gotta have...
I see myself as someone that is really fucking good at what they do, but there's a really type of... I don't know...
to give up the shit.
As far as, like, the method? Or
as your personal, way of gradually stepping... For me,
I think that my main goal is to be able to have a situation where I have a small area that isn't too much upkeep or too expensive.
I'm glad I never learned to myself.
That's good. And people shouldn't because people... I feel like I am a sort of eugenics, or not eugenics, I'm a sort of... If you take a young child and you condition him to meth abuse for a long period of time, starting at an early childhood, and you... I feel like I am the Ubermensch of meth abuse.
So you're very highly aware and
cognitive,
and not where there's no damage done.
Oh, there's damage done, but you can heal yourself too.
From the use at early age, like you're still able to articulate and you see like the residual damage in a lot of people and
well, you come back. I've had lots of damage, and I've had to come back. I've had to, but the thing is about meth is no 2 days are usually the same, and the good thing about that is far too often we do 40-hour weeks for however many years until we retire, and a lot of people in America, their days are the same to the point where people, I feel like, die before they truly pass away in this world because
that's a big thing,
they're living the same day over and over and again, like they're in this state of...
You think we're enslaved, like we're working and never going to arrive to the American dream because that's
No,
what
I think
America,
everybody has the keys to their own freedom, and I think
where
that
America created it in order to.
we are rising at an exponential rate with our exchange of ideas, and I think that there will be a revolution
Survival
of the
society.
mind, the consciousness. I think that the mind, consciousness is contagious. I think awakening is
Give you
contagious.
Something, California.
And I think that
is giving
revolution
you
has-
$2,500 a month and putting you in a hotel that they bought out from.
It's not true.
Yes, it
no,
is.
it's not true.
We're
Are you
talking
serious?
about my friend Tyler. Not Trent. Raven today. That his dad came over because it's fucked up because his dad
That's
came
not
and
true.
recruited him to California
I hate this. I'm sorry.
because he wants to.
You know-
Basically, he wants to
I know.
be
I'm
able
going
to
to change my law. or-
count on his
law.
income too,
Listen.
on his money. You know what I mean? Because he got him under that they were gonna go to Norfolk, Virginia. So he's like, oh, that's just 3 hours away, you know.
Okay.
But no, he was ambushed with, no, we're going to California.
Awesome.
But he was here
I would
sitting
go
down
anywhere and do
telling his
anything.
dad like
I'm-
that.
I'm
Like,
dying here. I'm not
a
doing
suggestion.
anything.
That's one thing, but then, you know, making it like and telling me that I have to move is different. You know, like but
Please,
he couldn't voice that
please
out.
get me out
himself.
of here. Or not,
I
me
try
out
to
of
get
here,
him. I try to like,
Please. I'm not doing anything. I'm not, or,
but that's what they did.
that's awesome. What are, that's a beautiful opportunity, or I feel like I'm confused. My brain's not accepting it. There's like
No,
a dissonance.
it's a program. It's a social services program, right? So
Ah,
they were
look, it's
staying
like
in a
forgiveness.
tent.
Ah, blink.
They're in a tent for like a week.
That's awesome. Yeah,
They
that's
apply for the program and
that's awesome.
they get the.
You know that I'm a beast in the woods. In fact, I've given
And it
myself
was
woods
all
nature.
funded by 420.
Are you serious? Are you serious? What information or what information is this program or what is? Can I get? I am.
I don't know. I mean,
right now, my large
I was
amount of my
trying to get
depression
him-
is I have no plan.
trying
If
to-
I even have just the smallest low resolution image of something that I can aim towards consciously.
I was trying to get Chris to intervene and
What do you mean?
make me maybe
Intervene.
intervene in with Raven. and
About what?
His parents, because he's used to using them to
Using them to what? You have to finish your
for money,
sentences.
for financial.
Well, has he been?
purpose.
Has he just not been able? Is he?
How
Is
is-
he
how
a
you
baby
gonna
bird? Is he a
take your
baby
son
bird
from
that's a
somewhere-
little bit too old?
somewhere-
Needs to be pushed out the
He's
nest.
19.
He's
How
19.
are you gonna take
okay.
him from a stable environment where he's ready to start school? He got his license,
Mm-hmm.
you know, because my friend Chris helped him out when he found him in the streets here of Shenandoah, no, not Luray.
What are you holding on to, or what is he holding on to in this area that he couldn't find a new
He's
at
very
California?
soft-spoken and that he allowed himself, like it said,
Can he learn?
his
be more- it's
mom and
soft-spoken.
dad got married again when the relationship was abusive. He was abusive towards her, so he felt like he needed to go to in order to protect her,
And he felt like he needed to go.
to protect his mom,
Awesome.
and try to talk to him about like
Sounds
your
like-
mom is an adult.
Mhm.
She makes her own decisions.
But wait a second.
You're not responsible for your mother.
That's a lesson that I just learned 2 days ago, and yesterday,
Be good.
and it made me cry.
He's throwing his life away.
It made me cry, and I've cried many, many, many tears and felt many, many things. But no, at the end of the day, I'm not responsible for my mother either. I forgive her and I love her, and I would do anything good for her to a certain extent now. But I need to be away from her, and that's why California is for happy cows and
If you
happy
are-
me if I was there. Stay
You're not
away.
mentally stable to like, you know.
Right now,
face homelessness.
right now, I would
Homelessness
get
is
rid of
gonna
my
affect
addiction.
somebody.
Right now, I would get rid of. I would do absolutely anything for the opportunity to be able to
This is
benefit myself in
a
a
love
sense
child
that
from the 70s. That's, you know,
I am lost. They're
still
not lost,
doing
but I don't
drugs.
know what I'm going
his
to.
dad. He's still partying, like, you know.
No, I'm partying right now because I have no. I'm still searching. I'm searching for what it is that, and
Drag his
I would-
kid around to.
I'm spontaneous and I'm a
Actually,
risk taker. I would right now. You said you have two.
Well,
You have 2 seconds to decide.
with
Hit this
your
button. Your
dreams
future will
and
never be the
aspirations,
same.
That would be an experience for you.
Yeah, but I would hit the button
Write
immediately.
about.
What?
That would be a journey for you to write about. That
T-Bone running away,
Chasing the gold.
finding the happy, chasing the gold. No, it's
Gold.
the stars, man, the distance.
California, remember during the gold rush?
Ooh, the gold.
Gold
What's
rush.
gold mean to you? Gold is a very high
rush.
quality.
There were more
term.
jobs up there.
They say that cracks were filled with gold in was it Egypt or something? I think I'm getting that wrong.
U.S. history, gold rush.
I'm talking about the
The
symbolic
forest.
representation of gold within my
Gold?
mind.
Not everything that shines is gold.
The dragon sits on it. Sorry.
And I'm allergic to that metal.
Mm.
I turn green.
Just kidding. Allergic to that metal.
It turns me green.
Like copper.
It was fungi.
But
But,
if it's a fungi, then it must be a fun guy. I love a little bit of mushies in my tummies. He
not the
said.
good kind. I got the kind that cuts your finger off.
Oh, you got them poison caps? Let me grind one down and go ahead and buy a pound, break it down, and then put it up in a stogie.
Raven used to be the
This
one
kid now got
took up
future
our
ambitions now.
DMT.
DMT? Oh, I love DMT.
So
I've only had
he's
it.
hoping he
I haven't.
can get it
ooh,
right the rest of it.
I haven't had DMT fucking for a while. I hear it's just a simple, like it's a filter. Like you have to. Okay, mimosa bark. There's certain precursors, but DMT is released by your brain in small amounts every night when you get into REM sleep, but also in bursts at death and life. But you extract it into a lot more tangible and
I heard
quantities of a
also
form
that-
from certain things like certain
is that
grass
really,
or mimosa bark. But all things have a
something
small.
sellable out there. Like you have to know the person that offers to you.
Like you have to order precursors online. Like if you order
Because it's a
mimosa bark,
spiritual
I think that you
thing,
could
yeah,
boil
it's a
it,
spiritual
and then within a boil you could take it through a filter by
Meaning
doing
it's
a
not a
lemon.
drug that many people can come back from if they're not okay. You know
If they
what I
don't
mean?
have
They
the
say it's
proper
very
toolkit
dangerous.
and experience to be able to navigate, you could definitely get lost. When you stare
But
into
it's
that
not
dark
something
abyss,
like
the
acid
abyss
or
also stares
X
back at
or
you.
that it's in the market. It's not a market.
I would. That's
It's not a
amazing.
market.
That's like the elixir of life. And know when you battle with monsters, be weary lest thee becomes a monster. It's I didn't summarize that well, or I paraphrased. But when you take
Tell me about
DMT,
that video.
know that wherever you go, it's also going to you. It's, I don't know. There's
Do you think
but
there's
there's a
residual
beautiful
effect from the trying it?
Can I? No.
Like,
There's. It's a
as-
powerful. It can change your whole life. It can.
No, like
In a
access,
great
you
way.
have those backflash. Oh, what they calling? What do they call them?
Oh, flashbacks.
Flashbacks.
What a feeling. No, I don't believe that. Or maybe that's possible for other people. I think PTSD, they have a lot of flashback situations too. For me, I feel like there is maybe a residual kind of energy or vibration or that I always see, but I've kind of accumulated. It's almost like not a prana, but like it's just a staticky, almost, it's like I don't know how to describe it. But yeah, there's sometimes permanent augments. Sometimes it's well, anyways. But I believe that it is the amplification and the expansion of consciousness, and it is the integration of. It's the evolution of man. But there's definitely always risk. You have to be strong of mind and conscious of intention and
The need
environment.
for knowledge and taking, biting that next apple, whatever it may be.
No, this is really powerful. The intense thing. Hold on a second. What is in this that you gave me?
It's godlike, like
The apotheosis of man is said to be the divine.
need to search, to see what we cannot
What is it that you cannot?
by.
Would you do me a favor? Would you open this for me?
There's nothing in
Would
it,
you
but
make
it's
me
like,
the look? Would you make me
but
the
if you're
happiest
gonna
man in
have
the
a
world?
problem opening like that, you're gonna drop everything. Tell it.
Ah.
Power.
La la.
So,
Now, what'd you say?
drug capsule.
Drop. Drop. They say mimicry is the highest form of flattery. Toss it up. Oh, look, that's the
Are you obsessed?
Did he first come into contact with the spirit world when he was 14? When he was 14?
Oh God.
I know, right?
I was 12 and then 15.
I'm so damn weak. I need to eat and sleep, but I'll probably just tweet. Stop singing. Okay, thank you. Hey, don't be letting me sing normally for long periods of time.
So,
You gotta get in dance off with me.
did you write that down?
Ryan, what down? Oh, the name.
Prospects of jobs that
No, I was getting a thing for another conversation thing, but prospects of job. Let me go ahead and get a pen and paper real fast.
facilitate your dream.
Look, oh my goodness.
What's happening to your artistic style?
Flashback moment. Flashback moment. Age 13, 2004. That's so funny. Blip, blip, blip. Bloop, bloop. It's okay, sweetheart. 3, 2, 1. It's a little black book. It's a little red book. All right, cut. Get some makeup in here. Just kidding.
We going back. So.
Yay. Chapter 2, Doppelgangers and One-Way Emotions, 2010 to 2011, age 19 to 20. With Joe's departure to college, I found myself with an expanding feeling of emptiness. I would argue that we all have various degrees of this void that rests unfulfilled inside us. Human nature is to constantly want and to never be satisfied. Not only had I lost a close friend, I had lost one of the few people in my life that I found intelligent. The parties continued, and I was in contact with countless amounts of people. Still, I felt like a spectator at most occasions, never really making the necessary connection and conversation that I was seeking. As this void grew, I began trying to fill it more and more with drugs and alcohol. I kept my job at Spencer's and continued to distribute merchandise within the mall. Every day I worked there, I was granted a break to go get something to eat. The mall in Harrisonburg is fairly small, and my options were soon exhausted. On the opposite side of the mall was a small pretzel shop that sold a variety of salty goodness. It was the only place that I never got tired of the food selection they had to offer. My route to Annie Ann's Pretzels took me by the quaint shoe store Journeys, where Joe had worked. Shane and I had always gotten along. I had never talked to her outside of Joe's house at that point, but we had numerous conversations, and she recognized my face in passing. She flagged me down one day when there was no customers, and I'd eaten my pretzel and lemonade in her store. This became a routine as the weeks followed. Soon all her employees knew me by name, and whether there were customers in the store or not, I was welcome to eat my lunch there. Our conversation started off generic and quickly grew in their context. I'm sure Shane saw how much I looked up to her. I'd always had a deep admiration for her, but that feeling had evolved in me exponentially. Looking back, I guess we both had clung together, having had the absence of Joe as a commonality. Shane was not horribly distraught about Joe's departure, though. Keeps doing this. Joe had been a simple, impulsive infatuation with her. Although she was sad that he had to leave, Shane was nearly 6 years more experienced in everything having to do with life. People come and go, Shane would have said it simply. She was very practical and adaptive. And I worshipped the ground she walked on. Shane treated me like an equal despite our age difference. She never made me feel inadequate, and she seemed to genuinely enjoy our conversations. I found that there was nothing that I couldn't share with Shane. I'm not sure if it was because she was a female and that she brought out this interface. She brought out the personality I had at Turner Ashby, and if it was the fact that she had such an overwhelmingly encompassing energy to her. Regardless, Shane soon adopted the role of the intellectual companion I had lost in Joe. She went beyond in every regard and reciprocated better than Joe and I had. She started taking her break at the same time as I had mine. This purposeful coordination left me feeling important. We'd eat lunch together, smoke our cigarette, and go back to work. It was a time in the day I would look forward to every day. During one of the many parties I'd attended at the time, I'd acquired a DUI. The response to this had been a day in jail and the loss of my license for an extended period. This made it difficult to maintain a job because I was generally late when I would get off at night. Finding a ride to work wasn't difficult, but having someone wait variations of time while I helped to close the store, count the till of the cash register, sweep and mop, etc. was burdening. I was surprised how willing Shane's response had been when telling her of my situation during one of our lunches. She was the manager and had to close the store every day anyway, so she was more than happy to drive me home after work. Shane was ritualistic with her after-work agenda. She kept a stash of marijuana prepared for her in her car for consumption after every day at work. We'd get high on our way to the bank, where Shane would deposit the money from journeys that day. After this, she would drive me home on most occasions. Wherever the destination, Shane liked to jam to music, loudly. By loud, I mean absolutely full blast. It was alarming at first, but I grew to love it as much as she did. I'd never heard any of the songs she played, but after a few trips, I learned all of the words. We'd tell the lyrics or yell the lyrics at the top of our lungs and thrash our bodies around recklessly. Even while driving, Shane got down. The energy was invigorating. This sequence of events continued until I had grown into Shane's life off the clock, and vice versa. We talked on the phone and started hanging out. She took me to go score herb with her more than a few times. Then we'd go hit a party or just talk. It amazed me how little our age difference meant. We just jived. I started learning more and more about the flower that was Shane Nicely. She had grown up in Florida before moving to this local area with her family. She had a couple cats that lived in her room at home. She lived with her parents still, but they gave her space. I accumulated these details in my mind as time went on. One day, Shane asked if I wanted to get picked up and go to her house to watch one of her favorite movies. Of course, I agreed. We pulled up to her parents' house, and I was shocked. Shane lived in a mansion that made Joe's previous beer mansion look like a shack. That day, she had instructed me to go directly up the stairs to her room. In my short journey through the door to her room, I was blown away by the house's eloquence. There was a giant chandelier as you walked up in the door. The house was virtually spotless. It was beyond elegant. The second floor overlooked the whole first floor. The ceiling was so high you'd have thought it to be unreachable. The hallway to Shane's room was down an elaborate labyrinth of hallways that seemed to never end. I suddenly realized I knew very little of the everyday life Shane lived. Shane's room looked like it belonged in a different house. It was messy with books and clothes thrown everywhere. It smelled like cats, which I never told her out loud. Because I was so shocked at the size of her house, the conversation that day became directed at what exactly Shane's parents did for a living. Apparently, they were both retired. Shane was modest on the subject, but she told me the gist of how her parents had accumulated their wealth. Shane's mother was confined to a wheelchair, and this was due to some sort of pharmaceutical mishap that had led the Niceleys to sue for compensation. They had acquired enough wealth for the accident to last them for the rest of their lives. I could tell it was a subject Shane didn't like discussing, so I let it be. Shane's favorite movie was Ghost. And despite her a free spirit, Shane turned out to be a hopeless romantic. I saw her eyes light up as the couple in the movie held each other to the song Stand By Me. I watched Shane as she watched the movie with great interest. I loved her on an extremely emotional level. She was beautiful, bold, fun, and intelligent, the perfect catch. I remember thinking that she deserved to be the girl in the movie we were watching. Shane had a void in her heart, and I wished desperately that I could fill it. Never have I felt this strong about any woman in my life than in that exact moment. But sadly enough, I knew that wasn't my role. I was powerless in any attempt to give her what she needed in life. I loved her unconditionally nevertheless. The credits eventually rolled, and our lives continued. But I never forgot that look in Shane's eyes, or how I had felt that day. Although important, Shane did not count for my entire social connection that I valued during that time. Dylan Sean Lester Pettit and I had met in Broadway High School during my senior year. We had hung out on a few occasions, but our friendship hadn't really taken root until the summer at the Beer Mansion. Because we knew multiple Dylans, Dylan went by the nickname Dopey. As the name suggests, Dopey enjoyed drugs. Of course, so did a lot of people we hung around with, but Dopey was the person who seemed the most capable of getting the harder drugs. Much like our mutual friend Joe, Dopey was very generous. When I'd see him show up at a party, I would get excited immediately. This was the reaction that Dopey was looking for. Under everything, Dopey enjoyed being in the spotlight. Dopey drank and smoked pot, like everyone else, but he also enjoyed a healthy meth addiction on the side. Not a lot of people we knew had a lot of experience with that stuff, like me and Dopey. His family life was broken and unhealthy, which led Dopey to straying down destructive avenues. Meth is a drug that makes different people react in different ways. For the most part, it produces euphoria and speeds the user to a state of almost superhuman capabilities. Dopey liked to snort the drug, while I preferred smoking it. Regardless of how we consumed it, the results were the same. Stay up all night, talk nonstop, eccentric energy, concentration, and an overall feeling of joy. Given the circumstances, it's no wonder Dopey and I formed a bond. It only took a few of these intense conversations to realize that although we were different in many ways, we had equally the amount of things in common. Our commonalities predominantly came down to our lifestyles and conquest for fun. Although we both had a long history of drug use, at least in at least in comparison to our peers, under the effects of stimulants, our inner geniuses would shine. I was able to drop my guard and charm those around me with my sense of humor and gift of gab. Dopey's genius came in the form of music. He was a skilled guitar player, perfectualizing songs and seldom missing a note. We saw the best in each other and enjoyed each other's company. Dopey was tall, around 6 foot plus, and weighed a healthy 180 pounds. However, he had not always been that size. Before I met Dopey, he had apparently been very heavy. His weight problem had followed him from childhood to high school. Usually a negative side effect, heavy meth use causes a lack in appetite. After considerable periods of use, Dopey had shed the weight off until he was at a normal, healthy weight. For Dopey, meth had not only granted him short-term benefits, but had given him a new body in the long term that he was proud of. I'm sure this was not healthy and it in no way justifies meth usage, but it seemed noteworthy. Dopey had brown hair that was shaggy. An unusual blonde patch that was hardly noticeable was also a defining trait he had since birth. His face was generally scruffy, and his eyes were hazel. Like his facial hair suggests, Dopey's dress style was questionable. His outfits were of a cut-up, loose-fitting, raggy almost look that made him resemble a hippie. He usually wore hemp necklaces or mushroom pendants made of blown glass, and Dopey was a character. I definitely give him props for originality. Dopey was popular within our social circle, but his best friend since childhood was Zach Krause. The two usually came as a set when arriving at parties. The two had lived very close to one another growing up and had met during some chance encounter years in the past. Zach was very different than Dopey. Zach was a wordsmith, like myself. However, Zach had a relentless, almost aggressive way of hyperactive mania to his conversations. It could be said that he took people verbal hostage, talking in outbursts of extreme detail and specifics that left people spacing out a quarter of the way through a conversation. He was highly intelligent and informative, but severely socially awkward. Although not his nickname, people sometimes described him as a Zach Attack. Unlike Dopey, Zach had a clean look to him. His clothes were a brand name and clean, giving him an almost preppy look. He had short, semi-curly hair that was a light brown that matched his eyes. He was an average height, 5'9.5" or so, and weighed about 145 pounds. He was athletically built and handsome in his eccentricities. His expressions were his defining characteristic, almost very eccentric. Dopey and Zach were lots of fun to hang out with. I found them both to be deep and dynamic in their own way. We continued to bond, and I found myself envious of the close friendship the two shared. I inserted myself into the equation, but I always felt like a sort of third wheel. All the same, we had fun. Shane had already met the two at the beer mansion like me. Around the time she had started driving me home from work, we had started picking up Dopey and Zach too. Although the two didn't seem to enjoy Shane's choice in music, they enjoyed her never-ending supply of marijuana. Our little group of four was pretty awesome. We all had our own little quirks, but we all got along well as a unit. Still, it seemed like it was two groups within one, Dopey and Zach, and Shane and myself. The paraphrased definition of a doppelganger is a look-alike variation of ourselves that everyone is supposed to have somewhere in the world. Whether or not everyone has a doppelganger or not, Shane was the kind of person who believed in things that went beyond the realm of reality. As I said before, Shane was a hopeless romantic underneath her hard exterior. I've also mentioned that both of us had a void bigger than most that we were left trying to fill. It was during one of our lunch breaks at the mall when I learned where Shane's void originated from more specifically. It had been a couple of years prior when Shane had been in a serious relationship with a man she had considered to be her soulmate. They had been lifelong friends, and in Shane's opinion were on a course to be married. However, Shane's soulmate had suffered a serious car accident that had abruptly taken his life. This had left Shane with agonizing grief and unable to obtain any closure due to the suddenness of the accident. Years had passed, and Shane had moved on in her mind. However, she brought this all up to me, not randomly, but for a very specific purpose. That purpose was that Dopey was unmistakable in resemblance to Shane's dead love. In short, Dopey was a sort of doppelganger of his. Although not nearly as exciting in context, I had my own underlying infatuations growing as well. Doppelgangers and One-Way Emotions, Part 2. Although socially awkward, I had grown to admire Zach for his intelligence and personality. In retrospect, I think a lot had to do with the way Zach looked. It was like his good looks amplified every part of him to the point I was blinded. And then there he was, the answer to the void I was trying to fill. This exchange of Shane and my infatuations led to an increased amount of times we picked up Dopey and Zach. It got to the point that that every day we had off, we would congregate. Holding too many things. It got to the point that every day we had off, we would congregate our little foursome. However, finding somewhere to party once again became a dilemma with the beer mansion no longer in commission. That's when Shane and I started developing a plan. Shane was familiar with the party planning concept and was determined to leave her mark on the scene. Coincidentally, right at the climax of all of these parties and the realization that each of us had set out to capture the affections of our fellow compatriots, came the news that Shane's parents were vacating their mansion for an entire week, leaving its entirety in the care of their only daughter, Shane Nicely. The news seemed too good to be true, but it wasn't. And so Shane invited me to stay the week with her and arrange the party of the decade. It was to this end that Dopey and Zach were also invited to stay the week. The day approached, and Shane picked all of us up to start the preparations. Before we even arrived, it was agreed upon that the first 2 days would be spent planning All the details in getting acquainted with the place and the actual party would fall on the third day, giving us plenty of time to recuperate and clean afterwards before having to return to our normal routines a week later. I guess for Shane, the normal routine was the same minus the company, but she played it off as being as much of an occasion as we did. I'd known what to expect having visited the mansion before, but Zach and Dopey were ecstatic upon pulling into Shane's driveway. Once inside, we all were led down the many halls and rooms the mansion had to offer. It seemed like everywhere we looked was something to be admired. The main living area was immense and filled with massaging recliners and a fireplace. The kitchen was a stainless steel jungle of organized equipment and food. The downstairs was designed as an entertainment room that had one of the biggest televisions I'd ever seen with surround sound speakers. Even a bathroom had a whirlpool jacuzzi-like tub and a separate walk-in shower with a pure glass barrier and stone surface that was amazingly customized, like walking into a garden and being rained on. The deck had a hot tub, and it led to an outdoor pool that wasn't clean and up in shape due to the late month, but it wasn't covered either. The first 2 days were less planning than we thought and more drunken outrageousness than anything. A few people stopped by, but for the most part, it was just the four of us all day long. It felt like a family. Had I had all the money in the world at that time in my life, I would have not been able to add much to the scenario that week. We had food, entertainment, each other's company, and a giant parlor of gizmos to contain it all. I spent most of the week in Shane's father's robe and slippers. We ate and drank like kings, and although it was like a dream come true for Dopey, Zach, and I, Shane still had an undertone of longing in her voice and expression. She seemed to be hypnotized by an invisible allure, reserved in her thoughts and projected at Dopey, who seemed to not notice. As far as Zach and I went, the first 2 days were majorly spent in an exhilarated drunken stupor. We stocked the deck with a keg and had the house cleared of most items deemed breakable. We spent the week inviting as many people as we knew, so on the night of the party, things seemed to be going smoothly. Everyone's reaction was very similar, exuberant and taken aback by their surroundings. The excitement was enormous, which led to an almost frenzy of emotion. Things began to get out of control pretty quickly. Dopey and someone else were in an altercation. Zach was upstairs dripping wet and crying about his childhood and drunken slurs, and I got in a hot tub full of people and took my swimming trunks off. A couple people threw up. Things got broken despite our efforts. I got hit in the back of the head and thought it was someone else who had actually done it. Things were crazy. Eventually, because of all the noise, the police were called, and everyone ran and hid. I remained in the hot tub, but tried to remain submerged. Luckily, nobody got in trouble, and the police left us with a warning. The night eventually tamed down, and the next morning, we all agreed that the rest of the week would be spent without another party like the one the night prior. With the house trashed and a week looming to an end, Shane and I decided to initiate the next part of our plan we had discussed previously in the week. We managed to split the duo of Zach and Dopey up, Shane isolating Dopey downstairs to watch a movie, while Zach and I drank in the hot tub upstairs. While Shane's plan seemed well thought out, mine seemed to be flawed on the surface. My original idea was that the alcohol would create a mood of relaxation and make it easier to communicate with Zach. What I didn't think of, as obvious as it was the fact that Zach and I are both hopeless alcoholics. What started as a little champagne turned into the rest of some wine in the kitchen and finally ended up with some hard liquor we found in the pantry of the kitchen. Within the hour, Zach and I were wasted in the hot tub. Although alcohol usually has the opposite effect on me, I remember sitting in the hot tub and looking at Zach, watching him as he was on one of his never-ending rambles that only got worse as his buzz increased, and I suddenly had a moment of clarity. I realized that what I wanted was never going to happen. Not only was my feelings for Zach only surface deep and a result of my desperate loneliness, but they were not reciprocated. While Zach was at times sensitive and romantically awkward, he was not interested in me in the same way I was in him. His body language was a telltale sign, and he seemed to look right through me, the same look I had used when I was mentally far away. Zach didn't see me the same way I saw him, and although I'd halfway expected it, the overwhelmingly obvious truth seemed to smack me in the face in that moment. So I just drank more and agreed, and kept my intentions to myself. Eventually, Zach started crying, and I did my best to be attentive to his words. Enough time went by that I decided to go downstairs briefly to see if Dopey and Shane had drank all of their champagne. I was happy to not only see the half-full bottle of champagne untouched, but Shane's smiling face, eyes closed under the covers, head rested on Dopey's bare chest. And so Shane got a happy ending that week, and I got the middle finger on the way out the room from Dopey, and Zach and I got more alcohol. The rest of the week was spent much the same as the first 2 days, and although things were in a clutter, everything was cleaned up, and what few things had been broken weren't of any sort of value too severe. The biggest thing that was commented on when Shane's parents did reclaim their house was that the pina colada mix they had purchased on their honeymoon in Hawaii had mysteriously vanished, which Zach and I had been responsible for during our pantry raid. All in all, the week went by beautifully, and although the plans had not worked out for me as it had for Shane, I wouldn't trade the experience. It was priceless. All right. So what would you say if you could, within a sentence or so, or within a small segment, what did yesterday mean to you? We were talking about doing things purposefully and with the understanding of the intent behind them. What was yesterday you wanted to seek? Or here, let me stop talking and let you answer the question.
No, I really appreciate we hanging out yesterday and today still, because that's what you're talking about, right?
Well,
Have
no,
our
you were trying to
time
seek actually while you were doing whatever.
Oh, right,
and you
right,
said
right,
that you
right,
wanted
right,
to
right.
do something
What's
on an
the-
exotic nature. I remember we defined exotic a couple times, but I just was asking you what did yesterday mean for you if you were going to sum it up. No rush to speak or anything. I guess if you watched it as a movie, what would be the moral scheme, or what would be the sticking out thing to you that was highlighted or that you took from
Well,
it?
when I said that, I wasn't sure if I wanted, for example, smoke,
Yeah.
and then you asked me, well, ask yourself the purpose. What is the purpose? And I said, well, because I want to be exotic. I want to be
Does it do with sexual?
fun. I want to be sexual. I want to be free of, dropping the guard.
I would almost classify it like connotatively, like exotic to have a sexual connotation within my mind to like a high degree, or exotic is, I know it can be anything, but
Right.
see, when I get high, I feel like there's when I say there's a fourth, there's like a cut for my fourth chakra. I mean that I sterilize my emotions for a great deal in order to gain, I guess,
Does it make you
mental
high?
proficiency, and also what get me high? Well, how do you define highness? Or
Right.
is it a state of euphoria, or is it a feeling? Is it a state of production? What you
It's
get
a
out of
state
it?
of feeling.
Is it a state of unique expression into where you can create?
A state of unique feeling.
It's
expression.
subjective. Yeah. What did yesterday mean
Because-
to you, or what did you get from it? What was expressed? Sometimes we express things unbeknownst to
yesterday,
ourselves.
Different. Yeah. I noticed that last time that we hang out, we had more fun than yesterday. Not that we didn't have fun, but the last
I was a
time
bit sloppy natured last night. I apologize.
we had more fun, like we were dancing and I was naturally like recording and no need to like, oh, can you record me or whatever, you know what I mean? Like was just like natural, and I think that every experience is different, every day is different. So, but overall, I think that that was an excellent experience because, like we got to bond,
Absolutely.
and in certain levels, we almost brought someone, it didn't work out, so whatever.
Is there anything that made you uncomfortable, or is there anything that
No.
I could that was no? Okay. Thank you, and definitely.
Nothing made me uncomfortable because
bridge.
if
It's a bridge. You
something
would
makes
express it.
if something makes me uncomfortable, I talk.
Okay, good. Yes.
Oh, my heart.
I can
talks.
sometimes. That's something that you need.
I can't.
Yeah, but if you sterilize your heart so that you can get a lot of clerical and data organized in a proficient manner, then you shouldn't have like your hand signing wagers because that your heart that's addressed to your heart.
Right.
So I do feel like sometimes there's things that have double entendres that are indirectly. I just want to say that. Perhaps that we have a dissection of what I wanted something exotic too, in the sense that it has a uniqueness to it that is out of the ordinary. But I think sometimes I go into doing stimulants in order to. I like to have fun and I like to dance and do. But my sex, I definitely don't. I have, I guess, a sexual acuity for them, and I feel like maybe when I was dancing, especially in the promiscuous manner that I was. That sometimes it could be taken. I need to be careful not to. I could be blue balling people, or I just don't get horny on stuff for the most part. No, the whole thing is about bringing it back to that before the first couple times that we hung out, specifically the first. It was a funner atmosphere. I feel like I'm a diamond in a sense, of we're all like gemstones. I feel like last night and this week in general, I've been stuck in almost a scientist, maybe archetype or persona. Like I'm very motivated towards trying to.
Methodical.
Yeah, and it's good, but it's also
It is good.
sometimes. But then I feel like sometimes people knock on my door and want an opinion on something I feel, and it's like no, I'm partitioning that part of my brain right now towards classical reasoning. And sometimes it hurts people's feelings.
I'm a star.
It hurts people's feelings sometimes, but no, thank you for just always
No,
let me
I
know
mean,
if there's
like-
something that if
I
I
mean,
step on a
like-
toe or cross a boundary, just let me know so I understand.
Oh yeah, I do.
You do, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
definitely
need
I
to
do. Definitely.
the slides. Do you want me to answer the same question about what yesterday meant for me? I don't
Yes,
know until I express
what,
it.
what yesterday meant to you
Yesterday meant for me.
today, but you and I like.
Well, I'd gotten sleep the night before, but I had been a little bit out of sorts all week. Yesterday, I think. I'm thinking of every situation. Ooh, the high point of emotions for me was the interstate situation. I think that laid the foundation for the rest of the night. Not that it had to, but there was a lot to be taken from that situation. I need to ask myself why did I get that upset? That was the place where I had the highest peak of emotions. And later on, it led to a creative kind of at least attempt. I need to go back and unsegue that video.
Oh, I didn't know you got upset.
Remember, on the highway, on the way when we was back and forth.
Oh, right.
I had there was a
little-
frenzy.
that
Why
was a
do
little
you
bit.
think that affected me to such an extent? That was probably the highest.
No,
Is it because I have a control issue, or was it because even if people are
Because
doing
the
things
guy-
incorrectly, why am I that
the
emotionally
guy
involved with it?
The guy wasn't being responsible. He was not giving us a specific address. He was saying, "I am in a."
He was being highly indirect.
Two exits down.
Highly indirect and inaccurate.
Port Republican Road. I was like, okay, this is.
But okay, do you think that that's?
But that was totally on him.
I don't think.
Because if he had given us like a physical address, that was not a problem because we had phone with GPS. We had.
Oh, there was the
map
electronics
with
breaking down.
GPS. So
Kind of like the dogs barking 30 minutes before you got to my house.
The way you took
Sometimes
it,
I feel like the
though.
environment raises hell.
I appreciate the way you took it.
I really appreciate you. See, the whole point of this
Because you know what?
situation
Let
is
me tell you
that's when
this.
I was having the highest point of emotion, and you were very patient with me. You bought me a coffee drink, and thank you for not. When I had that kind of anxiety going on, for not
Yeah,
being
but-
short or being patient.
No, but you didn't, like lose it with the guy. You were very cool, and then saying that, trying to um, amend the situation by saying, the GPS is fucking up, and we are not getting it. So
Now, also, there's the car anxiety is essential. I have a car anxiety. It seems like it's a lot of it's just a lot going on. And with me sitting in the passenger seat and having wrecked a bunch, it's almost like
no, but
that's definitely a compound.
no, but
I want to understand my feelings better.
but I agree with you though, because once you were driving, you're not supposed to be on the phone.
Well, even if that was what was worrying me. Wow, wait a second.
I
So
apologize for that.
there was the
I apologize for that because I am the one who usually says no phone in the car unless I don't touch it.
we did a very large line before we left, and I feel like after that I was seeing you almost in a stupefied manner. You weren't. You were driving completely accurate, but then when you would go to use your phone, I wasn't seeing much forward progress within the phone dimension, and I was seeing less on the road, and it was.
Right. Because I was more focused on the phone.
What do you think? Wait a second. Ooh, okay, more focus on the phone. But that's okay, because I wanted to go in there and help, and then eventually I did. But the phones were just look. We have the electronics being disablement, and the flasher was coming on. Things were not working. Car anxiety, driving level.
We didn't have an address to go to.
That goes with the all the GPS. Thank you, and that goes with the electronics. Yeah, GPS was messing up. But even okay, so the frustrations in life. Do you think that's why? I mean, you shouldn't get upset when people are wrong or when people are inaccurate, and you shouldn't really get upset if you're driving down the road. So why did I throw a temper tantrum, and why did it affect me?
Give me a second.
Yeah, it's because these things, I guess, are fearful.
Hello. From where? Oh, okay. Where? Where is it? Cambridge, Massachusetts. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's an undesirable area for me. Unfortunately. Yes, I am looking in the North Shore, outside of Boston in general.
Boston.
Yes.
What's up? This is Tyler, and I'm just chilling here.
I am Dan, and I am just chilling here with Tyler. We are lying down here in bed, and Tyler is under the covers because he's a little cold.
Mm-hmm.
And I am just lying down here, chilling and enjoying myself.
It's a good analysis of the physical properties that are residing within the domain that we're inhabiting right now. Far too often, it seems that I've completely sterilized myself from being aware and mindful of my environment. But in order to have the power of now, like you were talking about earlier, you almost have to pinch yourself and put yourself back into wherever it is that you find yourself occupying.
Yeah.
I'm always talking about ideas and stuff, but do you think that there is something to be gained from the hyper-focus of one's environment, or?
No, I believe it comes from within. You have to come up with it and explore it.
What is it?
The things that you want, everything you have it. It's just a matter of you looking for it, but it's all available to you.
Sometimes I feel that I have trouble connecting to my, it'll be like when I'm in my head, like when I was supposed to be hitting up boys on Grindr earlier, and we were talking, but it was like I kept having to be almost reminded to that I'm inhabiting this body, or that I need to go back to the point where I was sitting on my foot where I got numb, remember? It's almost as if there's a detachment from me and my thoughts and my physical environment sometimes, where I almost like astral project out of it. It almost feels like
Yeah, because you're not grounded.
I'm not grounded
You're
properly.
not focused. So you want to.
What grounds you?
Again, grounds me, reminding me of being in the moment. That's what
There's power. There's
that's what
power within
grounds
being,
me.
I guess, present in the moment.
Yes, that is a lot.
Well, you had me at power. No, I'm just kidding. It's, I guess a person with a me in a lesser state has said before that if you show me a reason to be plugged into my environment, then I might show you a form of myself that is more environmentally aware. But that's a person that makes excuses, I would say. It's also rationalization to stay in my head. They say that your thoughts, your microcosm, which is inside your brain, and then your macrocosm, which is outside of your body, it's all the same thing anyways, or something. And they say that it's just your environment is a direct expression of your mind. Or so really when you sit back and want to say, when I sit back on my high horse and say I don't want to zone into my environment because thoughts are just so much, and there's no need to, the environment is meaningless, then I need to realize that the environment is a direct reflection of my thoughts and that there's no difference. So to be toned and zoned out of one is almost to be not alive at all, I guess. But where am I? What is the stuff around me? This is just funny. In a kind of sad way.
Yeah, the essence of life is coming from inside of yourself that connects you to the universe. So you need to let that force, that energy flow through you and goes to the universe and connects to the universe. So your universe will give you back the same thing that you are projecting to the universe. The energy, if it is a positive energy, if a good energy, if it is a productive energy, if it is a kind, if it's a good, if it's a loyal energy, you will get all that back from the universe. However, if you are bitter and
Bitter?
bitter,
Oh, bitter?
yeah,
Okay.
and don't look into change, you stuck and you are creating a prison for yourself, an emotional prison for yourself, and that's nothing more worse than being a emotional prison.
That's true. What are some bitterness qualities, or what are some things that you find yourself needing to maybe spend a little bit more time? Like, I feel like it's almost such a broad thing. I feel like for myself, I've gotten over a lot of, I've taken my power back about how people feel about me, or about overstressing about, I guess, the opinions of others. But I feel like the major thing that I find that I'm stinking thinking on is that I always feel that I can be doing more than I am. And so there's a perpetual guilt. But simultaneous to that, it doesn't seem that I'm moving forward because there's no fire underneath of me, or there's no, I'm not drawing from anything. It's almost like I need a spark for a reaction, but I'm waiting for something to move me before I move, and then I'm feeling perpetually guilty when I don't move, because it's just a weird kind of a paradox that I'm getting through. But yeah, and then I think I feel bitter for time wasted. Bitterness is definitely a void that you don't want to get sucked into. It's a prison that you don't really get good time on. Thank you for bringing attention to that. I wouldn't want to be caught up in a bitter. I definitely think that I'm a little bit. I've been very passive and very well, and then at times I haven't. I guess we all have multiple colors, but I feel like I've been very nice. And lately, there's been a part of me that's almost a little bit trying to bring into balance a part of myself that is more assertive, more assertive, and maybe a bit more someone who, I guess, is more defined with what they believe and speaks himself forward. But it's not a very natural like characteristic that I have. So I almost have to like push myself. I almost inflate it. It always comes across as cocky and arrogant sometimes. Excuse me. And then I got these fucked up, what do you call them, defense mechanisms, right? It's just got a lot of goofy stuff going on. But I'm excited to be evolving. I'm excited to be growing into something that is a higher form of myself.
Yeah, higher form of yourself. That's beautiful because that's what builds your soul. That's what feeds your soul,
Growth.
your growth, and who you become after the job that you have to do to keep reminding you of being in a present, because being a present means being grounded, being connected with yourself and with the universe.
I would like to do that.
So
But words are
it
wind.
is easy to do it. No, it's not easy to do it actually, but it's simple to do it when you learn the techniques.
I find myself not grounded because I feel that I run away from my present a lot. Like I was explaining to you in the car, that since I had car anxiety, I started zoning out in the passenger seat. And as a correlation to that, I don't know directions very well. It's almost as if that it's been my go-to in life, that I find myself in harsh or painful times, and so I've zoned out. Or I've been an only child. You asked me about if I had any siblings. A lot of time alone, a lot of time in one's head. It definitely seems that I'm having to condition myself later in life about grounding and anchoring and being present. And yeah, I'm going to continue to do that. Thank you for helping me develop like a mantra.
Yeah, absolutely. I am very grateful for what I have learned from life and from myself, learning myself, and exploring and not being afraid. As there are times where like you want to give up because it's exhausting, mentally exhausting, and all you want to do is to just sleep, but you can't let go, because that's the part where your brain is going to be it's going to produce different hormones in your brain, or quantity of hormones increase, the production of hormone increase in your brain. Certain hormones in your life will transform completely.
So that's what I tell myself when I start feeling very depressed or very low. It's like just because I've been addicted for so long, I'm familiar to passing bouts of mania or passing depressive bouts. Or it's like when you find yourself in a state of despair, I try to tell myself that there will be more dopamine and serotonin and norepinephrine or whatever produced at a later time. And if you can just ride the storm, then eventually you get to a place where you feel better. and it's helped me not take myself so seriously in a way. But that's what you were saying, right?
Yes.
Hmm.
Totally.
If I've been abusing drugs pretty consistently since I was 12 years old, specifically the last couple of years. How long do you think, as a molecular biologist, how long do you think it would take for my brain chemistry to return to a place that would be considered stable? Or
Um, Approximately, I believe, depend of how hard you work. So if you work out, if you sweat a lot, you drink a lot of water, you eat healthy, and don't do any drugs for a month
mm-hmm.
or 2 months, and you're gonna feel different, and then you're gonna make a judgment. Should I go back there or stay the way I am? Should I do it again, or should I just continue my decision of not do it just for doing it, but to have a purpose? If that is a purpose, you do it. But if that is not a purpose, what is the point of doing it? So you want to question yourself on that way.
What is
Who
your
you
purpose?
wanna-
That's a really good way or thing to bring attention to.
What is the purpose? Everything gotta be a purpose. Everything in life has a purpose. What is the purpose
What do you get out
of working? The purpose of working is to get a better life, better education, better house, better car, travel. That's the purpose of work. Pay responsibilities, take care of responsibilities,
Mhm.
right? Same way is our life. What is the purpose of our life? What is the purpose of me using I don't know,
stimulants?
stimulants, whatever? So you have to have a purpose.
What is
for
your purpose
everything.
within stimulant use? You haven't done it but a few times, you said.
I only done a few times, but the purpose was to have sex.
See, that's what people use it as a sex drug often. I've never really used it. I mean, I've done it on, but it's never been specifically for like a sexual domain for me. But it definitely has changed from what it used to be. To the point where sometimes I don't even know why. I'm doing it to feel a certain feeling, and I'm also doing it as a social commonality in order to network and be able to go and meet new people. Or also, it helps me not to feel, I guess, negative emotional inputs that I got. So it's also kind of a coping mechanism that's in there as well. But outwardly, I used to be much more productive on it. Like he was saying with his cleaning bouts or with his organization. Lately, I find that I'm not able to channel it into the same as before. It definitely seems that I need to reevaluate what it is that I'm super addicted towards about the whole stimulant situation. Because there's definitely things that I'm sacrificing in order to maintain it and uphold it. And I guess I'm gaining pleasure. I'm avoiding certain pain for a limited time. And social.
That's very important. That's very valid.
It's interesting.
Extremely valid.
What do you do if, so then I stop using it, for instance, okay? Then suddenly I am smacked with all this responsibility, all of these negative emotions, and apathy in terms of things that I once found enjoyable because of my brain chemistry. It's like it's almost like to be bombarded with gray while feeling pain, having this mountain of responsibility to accomplish, and just having nothing but the promise of tomorrow to drive you forward. And I guess that weakness has kept me in a comfortable bubble of self-delusion and addiction.
Yeah. Um, well, you're bringing a very important point because talking about addiction,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you recognize when you recognize that you are addicted to something, that's the first step to recovery. So if you are addicted to, let's say, dinner, and if you feel like you are addicted to it, and then you recognize and you say it, so you are ready to do something about it.
Well, I've known I've been addicted for many years.
Yeah, I know, I understand, but it's that is a turnaround because what happens now, your brain your brain stop producing certain neurotransmitters. Well, it didn't stop, but decrease the amount because the drug is giving you the neurotransmitters
Mm-hmm.
that that you that you
Covet.
that you need,
Then I
that
need.
your brain produce. Actually, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. The drug doesn't give you that. The drug stimulates. Uh, what happens is like two two neurotransmitters supposed to match, and then the drug comes and kick this one out and match with one, and then cover the the entrance of the neurotransmitter, and then your brain won't produce, so you have to keep doing putting the drug in. So but when you stop that, your brain start recognizing that, wait a minute, something's missing here, which is the neurotransmitters that you are supposed to have to have a healthy life.
Mm-hmm.
So then the brain start, okay, start is time to produce more. The body needs more, and then the brain start producing more and more and more, and then you don't need any more. The addiction is decrease, but you are always aware that you have a addicting personality.
Absolutely. Always have.
If you have an addicting personality, you have to be watching over you all the time, over your behavior all the time,
Why?
because you can become addicted to anything.
People,
You can
alcohol,
you become
drugs,
addicted to drugs, to alcohol. You can
sex,
become
role playing,
addicted to sex. You can become
escapism,
yeah, exactly.
writing.
Using escape. You can become addicted to so many things.
Addiction is like obsession with a dependence. Like I
Yeah,
almost like
it's impulsive. It's impulsive behavior.
there's costs and there's rewards to all things, they say. I definitely have gotten to the point where I've stopped doing meth for a week's time or so, but it's like I even get to a sense of where I feel that I'm happy or that I feel like I'm stable enough within my transmitters and whatnot. Um, but then it's like I think that it's really the social thing that always brings me back, or it's the for whatever reason I definitely haven't determined, even though I would say that not unmanageable, but yeah, it's definitely the split self. Even as I'm going to describe it, it's like I would like to stop. I would like to be healthy and to have continuity, and I
Yeah.
would like to be able to be
You can do
someone.
socially. You don't have to do like for no reason. Like I said, with purpose, not social, but like
But with purpose.
yeah, like okay. So what is the purpose? You ask yourself, okay, I'm gonna go smoke right now, and then you ask yourself, okay, wait a minute, why am I going to smoke? What's the point? What's the purpose?
Uh,
So if you're going to hook up with someone and you think you need that, that's a purpose. But
it makes me feel better than I would feel without it.
but it is
And
but
it usually makes me more active. It usually makes me it makes it so that I don't need to sleep. So I get more of a production value within.
But the best sex ever, honestly,
Mhm.
is without drugs.
See, it doesn't
It's the
even come
best
into sorts with
when
sex for
you
me.
when you hug a person, when you kiss, when you touch the body, you appreciate the entire body of a person. The pleasure is from another world, I would say. The pleasure is incredible. And with drug, like that day, the guy here, remember?
Mhm.
He was just banging me.
Mhm.
Banging, 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 banging. He would never come. I was like, what is the point? If he wasn't on the drugs, I'm sure he had come to orgasm. But he didn't.
Hmm.
So, you know,
It definitely,
that's the
it's
best.
different. It definitely compounds into something within sexual dynamics. You almost have to have a connection and love somebody in order to have really to make love to them. They say. I feel like without drugs, I don't know how to relate and eventually go. I don't know what to do with people in order to get through the tasks of what you're doing in order to know them. It's like when you meet someone, you guys are usually doing something. You have a medium of engagement, and throughout y'all's medium of engagement, you eventually take little pieces of the person. You know how they define themselves, their story, what it is, and without that's intense.
Just sent me.
Without drugs as a commonality, or without I guess hedonism in one form or another, I find that I don't meet people, or I don't. It's almost like it shuts the whole lane down. And I know I just need to refine. I need to figure out like how to reprocess that, but it's a psychological block that keeps me in, I guess, addiction. Because even when I start to feel better biologically and I have a slight period of clean time, I continue to find myself going back towards meth abuse on a daily basis because there's something I'm fundamentally missing, I believe. And it's, I guess it's social engagement, and it's a feeling of, I would rather live, I guess, numb in pleasure than alone in pain.
Hmm.
Maybe that's a lie I tell myself.
Right. So the goal is to
fix that.
remind yourself to be in the present, grounded. I'm gonna see you again.
Okay. No, you're fine. I came to jail in late December of 2017 in one of the most broken states I have ever been. Physically, I was drug addicted in withdrawal at a weight of 121 pounds and a height of 6'2". Bones protruded out of me like an exoskeletal reminder of the sins of the past. After having reached what was either a mental psychotic breakdown or a spiritual epiphany, the very fabric of space and time had ripped open the week prior, whether because of poor health, extended use of LSD over months, or stress, who's to say. I was still a little bit shaky on what was real and what wasn't. The one thing I had going for me was my faith was at an all-time high, even if my terms were a little bit shaky on what I was faithful towards. I knew God had my back and everything was going to be okay. My cellmate ended up being a guy named Timothy Leon Jenkins. Tim looked like a skinhead, except he was gangster and not racist. He had tattoos all over his body with white trash tattooed on his neck and a small cross on his face under his eye. At first, we took to liking each other. All the outward Christianity symbols on his body in the form of tattoos told told me he must be a good person. As it turned out, Tim, like everyone, I suppose, had a lot of demons in his closet that would eventually make us antagonistic to one another. His hard life had made him angry, a thief, jealous, victimizing, and violent. He certainly didn't turn the other cheek in the face of conflict. Regardless, I let him put money on my account for a while, which got us off on the right foot. It's strange how friendships develop, especially in jail. I watch a lot of Survivor and treat jail a lot like the show. I found myself in a group of 4 people. Myself, Tim, a guy named Roger, and John Ross. Roger was a rich kid who thought he was a hard drug dealer. He glorified his lifestyle and, in my opinion, embellished a lot of his experiences. He would stutter. He stuttered a lot, and John Ross became my world for the next several months. Like all alliances, I decided that we needed a solid name for our group. Somehow we became the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse, or just the Horsemen for short. My first real conversation with John Ross was a simple one, where we found commonality. We both enjoyed Game of Thrones. It's funny how little things like that can influence a first impression, but they do. Months later, Ross told me that if it wasn't for that one Game of Thrones conversation, he probably wouldn't have befriended me the way he did. It turns out that Ross had pulled a 1.5-year jail sentence in a recent past that he quotes as being the worst period of his life. The only thing that gave him solace and joy during this time was the Game of Thrones books. He was out for 81 days before reviolating and eventually met me. During that 81 days, he had watched the HBO series, so Game of Thrones had a special representation for Ross. It was one of the few hobbies he had been able to pursue, and it had gotten him through a rough time in life. Without knowing so, I essentially lucked out because I'm a total Game of Thrones nerd. So we had for a long while now. And became fast friends. So we talked for a long while and became fast friends. Before I knew it, I was in love. It's a little embarrassing how fast and hard it hit me, but it was undeniable. I fell in love with John Ross. He was the same age as me, 27, and the same height, 6'2". But he was totally opposite of my personality type at that time. Let's see. Ross was confident in a social butterfly. He wore glasses and spoke with a slight country twang. He was perceptive and hilarious, able to control the energy in the room. And he was athletically toned with lean muscle, a strong upper body, and arms with a lean waist. There's immeasurable theories on why I fell in love with Ross. I was in a broken place in life and needed a strong figure to guide me. I was in the thralls of lust. He was everything I wanted to be: masculine, confident, athletic, charming. He reflected my relationship with TJ that I had in jail. He had no family support. We started a student-teacher dynamic. I looked up to him. There's even a weird one. I wrote down T-Bone on something joking one day, and for months I became T-Bone. T-Bone is the name my dad used to call me growing up, and when Ross said it with his country accent, there was a subconscious connect and feeling of acceptance I'd never known from my father I was suddenly getting from Ross. Regardless of rhyme or reason, I fell in love and I fell hard. I needed a way to connect with Ross, something to make us bond. One day, I asked him if he would start training me on how to work out. From that point on, Ross made it a mission to help me get stronger. This was a big thing for me because I was so weak. I needed help doing most of the exercises. I couldn't do a single push-up on my own. We started with 4 of us in our group, and eventually it was just Ross and I. I never gave up, and I would go until I would almost pass out every time. Ross commented the first few weeks that I had more heart than everyone combined. As I started showing more results, I could feel how proud Ross was of me and how he really was putting effort into my transformation. It started off as me seeking the approval of this boy, and through the experience, I ended up gaining approval of myself. I am confident now that I will be in moderate to above average physique for the rest of my life. That was a gift that John Ross gave me. Within the first few weeks, my cellie Tim asked me straight out, "Are you gay?" I said that I was, being honest. He said he knew by the way I acted every time Ross came in the room. Anytime anything true but embarrassing was said to me at that time, I would turn bright red. It was like at that time I was incapable of secrecy. Either way, Tim asked why I wasn't just myself and if I wanted him to come out to the pod for me. I reluctantly agreed, and before I knew it, I was out of the closet in jail. A somber-looking Ross and then the page is wrinkled. Looking at Ross, who was who was smiling. He said, "Man, it's 2018. It's no big deal." And just like that, I was accepted for who I was. Things got bold after that. Guys in jail are like gossips, and Tim was no different. At some point, Tim told Ross that he thought, that's not funny, but all right. Guys in jail. Okay. Tim was no different. At some point, Tim told Ross that he thought I was in love with him. Then Tim came to me saying that based on the way Ross responded to this and by his mannerisms, and the way he kept bringing it up, that Ross was bi and into me. It seemed too good to be true, and my confidence was down. Tim told me to start writing notes to Ross that he would deliver and scope Ross out for context clues on his behavior. It became this huge telephone game where I wrote down on paper what Tim was supposed to say to Ross, but really I knew he was showing it to Ross, and then Ross would verbalize his response. This went on for a while and got nowhere, and it became awkward having Tim as the in-between man. What did transpire out of all of the madness was that Tim was positive that Ross was bi, even though Ross had never directly said anything, and that I needed to trust him. Tim said that I had all the power and I wasn't using it correctly. He said if it went on this way, I would never get what I wanted in life. He said Ross had everything to gain in our friendship. I was feeding him, giving him attention, boosting his ego. He said if I wanted things to go my way, I had to threaten to take that all away, to give Ross a choice. The thought terrified me the thought terrified me, but he was right. I had never really taken charge in important relationships, and as a result, they had never gone the way I wanted. Scared out of my mind, I wrote a letter to Ross and hand-delivered it. The letter was bold and pushy. In retrospect, with quotes like, "I'm hungry too, it's either my way or the electric gets cut off. It's a blowjob, it'll feel good, and I'll go down the chain." Oh, that's horrible shit. Anyways, what's next? And a lot of... Oh, wait a second. That was always felt like they were... Before starting getting... Yeah, okay. Damn it. These wrinkles in them. A lot of time together alone. The other horsemen started commenting that they always felt like they were interrupting our conversations when they came in, and they kind of were. Before we started getting physical, I was nervous around Ross, and our conversations were broad, mostly group dynamic level that had little depth, tiny, humorous slices of life. But once we started spending more time together and I got more comfortable as an interviewer, the person in front of me came to life, layer by layer. We talked about our dreams, our past, our mistakes, our families. Had he ever been in love? Where was he going after he got out of jail? What was his childhood like? I wanted to know this boy's life story, and piece by piece I got it, and it touched my heart. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but Ross had an abusive upbringing, had been abandoned by his family, and put all his eggs in one basket because he was in love only to be abandoned again. I came home one day and she said, I don't love you, I don't think I love you anymore, he told me. Instability from a home front and drug abuse as a coping mechanism did the rest. And John Ross had spent most of the last half-decade alone in jail. He barely got mail, had no financial support, which meant he was hungry constantly, and he had to struggle for basic hygiene. The longer this went on, the less hope Ross had. I saw him for who he was, his potential, a strong, intelligent, charming, amazing human being who, through poor luck and poor choices, had ended up in front of me then. I felt that this was his last chance. If he got out and screwed up again, he would be in jail for the next 5 to 10 years, and his life would be different because of it. Here I was, someone who had all this info and loved the boy. I felt compelled to make a difference, and to be honest, I wanted Ross in my life. I brought up the conversation of us moving in together after jail, and after a few weeks... Damn it, keeps doing that. Okay, we're good. Okay. After a few weeks, we were both on board with it fully. And what makes it all worth it, Ross began to show signs of hope, optimism, and genuine happiness. This thing is like from the devil. It keeps flipping it like this. All right. Our relationship was tested in a big way because of my gossiping. Everyone already were talking about Ross and I because we spent so much time together, and I was openly gay. When my friend, I don't know what that says, Stahl, kept seeing Ross and I disappear during med rounds, he confronted me whether we were sleeping together or not. I turned blood red, and feeling that my skin tone had spoken for me, confided in him that we had, but it was a secret. On a separate note, I had told Tim that I had fucked Stahl on meth outside of jail, and once word got back to Stahl that I had said this, he blabbed to the whole pod about Ross and I. I found out before Ross did and was so nervous to tell Ross. Soon after, Ross came to me and said, I feel like everyone knows. And so I told him. It was a turbulent day or so, but ultimately Ross forgave me. After some time, he even became pretty open about it. It is what it is, he liked to say, and once when talking about how well endowed he was, he said, just ask T-Bone. What had once been such a dangerous topic seemed to lose steam a little after that. a lot of. It's 4, okay. This damn interface. Boom. I have never been in an actual relationship. So this period with John Ross was the closest I'd ever come to having that. I went from 121 pounds to 165 pounds in muscle. I threw him a birthday party. We got tattoos and spent all day, every day together. We were in a fully functional jail marriage together, so much that we were saying "I love you" to each other every night. Oh God! After oral sex, I started having him hold me in his arms until the doors came unlocked again. He treated me like gold. I treated him like my hero. Of course, I played my hand a little harder as time went on. Ross's sexuality started coming up in dialogues a lot. Started coming up in dialogues a lot by me, and it made him uncomfortable talking about it directly. I wanted us to truly date, but Ross wanted to stay the way it was. Date a man? It was as if he'd never thought about it before. He maintained that he lusted for women, but you're having a reaction to me, so you're bi, I said. He kinda nodded, but just let it hang there. Do you love me, I said. Yes, just not physically, and you're my best friend. Ross had idolized his father growing up. One day when they were hunting, he made the comment that he was so happy Ross hadn't turned out gay. I felt that this had caused a mental block in Ross fully accepting our relationship. However, where I took it to is both ridiculous and hilarious at the same time. As I gained weight, my ass started becoming something I took pride in. God. I kind of, right? I comment about... Ooh. How to break my physical barrier. I'm 165. Oh no, that's not it. Damn this thing. Okay. Alright, here we go. Loving me all but physically gave me a complex. I somehow came to the conclusion that if I could get Ross to fuck me in the ass, he would realize I'm just as beautiful from behind as any woman. And then we could be together. It's crazy, I know. So I ordered petroleum jelly and we sat down to talk. He was nervous, said he would think about it, but I persisted. Finally, it came down to me saying tonight is the night. I put a blanket over the door and we undressed. Ross was shaking. He was nervous. We would get caught, that he'd hurt me. He wouldn't be able to do it. Well, about 3 pumps in, Ross spun his load and ushering in a classic comment from me, already? Well, I guess Ross enjoyed it or something to prove, because we had impromptu sex in the middle of our regularly scheduled blowjobs on his request. One time he said, I just wish we had more time, and so I knew he had developed lust for me after a fashion. One of our last days together, I had him switch cells and spend the night with me. Made love, cuddled, then made dinner, and just laid there and talked for a couple hours. Sex had been romantic and thorough, and the conversation deep and full of meaning. Before we went to sleep, I asked if... Oh, God. Yeah, I asked if he wanted head one more time, and he said... He was down for a quickie. What I didn't know was the danger of butt sex after a huge meal. And so that was when I accidentally shit all over the man I loved, John Ross. It's ridiculous. We were separated randomly after that. I was able to pass him a few notes before I got transferred to my next facility. It was weird getting readjusted to being solo again. I had been a we and us for almost half a year, but I found myself and have been forever changed by my experience with Ross. There is a magic that words cannot capture that is developed when you connect with someone on that level, when you spend that much time together. Ross taught me to be strong, confident, to stand up for myself. He taught me to stay focused, to be myself, and that I'm capable of obtaining any goal I set for myself. He came at a time in my life where I was at an all-time low, and through our interactions and experiences, I am now in one of the best mindsets and physical health I've ever been. I understand now that you can't make someone love you. I can only jam a circle peg into a square hole so many times before something breaks. That being said, the future holds infinite possibilities. All that is certain is that I made a lifelong friend this year who I'm certain I will see again one day soon. God bless you, John Rawls. You're a rock star. It's sad, right? Yeah. Hold on, I've got another. There's got a beautiful letter in here I want to add to the situation too. I'm recording this thing.